This is the X&C Podcast, your Xbox newscast, featuring Colteastwood and Gaz, hosting industry interviews and gaming talk live on YouTube every Monday night at 5 p.m. on the West Coast, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. For all of you listening around the world, X&C Podcast is available on demand on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Welcome to the show. Join the chat, hit the like button, and let's get into this week's topics with the Xbox newscast. How you doing? This is Colteastwood and Gaz. That's a little running joke we got going. And Gaz. How's it going? We're here a little bit early. It's 3 o'clock Pacific time if you're checking in. If you're in the East Coast or on the East Coast or around the East Coast, it's 6 p.m. But for you in the UK, like my two excellent people are here with me today, it's 11 p.m., right? Gaz, how are you doing, bro?
Yes, UK represent. Joe, finally, someone from here. Where in the UK are you from, Joe?
I am from West Yorkshire, Leeds. Which you probably tell with my accent, I think.
Yeah, I work with a lot of Yorkshire people.
Nice. I was on the last podcast. I saw a few comments where people had said, I had a hard time understanding his accent, so I'm going to try my best to talk a bit slower on this one. And
No,
yeah.
You're in good hands. Don't worry.
We
about
can have quite the
Americans.
international audience here sometimes, don't we, guys? We get the Australia group, we get people from Sweden and all over the place, which is very, very cool. Welcome, chat. Gaz, it's so good to have you here on a time when you're not turning into a vampire, but we got to introduce. We've got Joe from the Hypercharge Unboxed game. This is like we're sitting at the top of the hill where they've raced up to fame and wonder. It's actually been just this past week where it's really, really become like a fiery hot trend, right, Joe?
Oh, yeah. I mean, literally, I've just had people saying it was that week. It was like it was just kind of Hypercharge was the front page of the internet, just everywhere, even things I never thought of it'd be seen. Just absolutely went viral. Surreal.
Yeah, it's so cool because we just kept seeing your game, like these little 3-second clips on Twitter. Like you just throw those out here, and everyone kept going.
Yeah.
We're scrolling like, what? Wait, hold on, what's this?
Yeah.
And I see Special Nick in the chat. Stop stealing our guests. Joe and I have been talking for about a month, and I was going to get you on last week, but I thought I'd give you a week and situate it so I can get you on here when it's not super late. But about 2 weeks ago, I put together a little montage of Joe and his team put together these really cool little tiny little bite-sized morsels of the game. And every one of them was like a super like highlight moment. So I threw them all into Premiere and I just sent out a tweet because like these guys deserve the spotlight. And that I think I'm responsible for the absolute popular. No. But it's been really cool to see everyone get rallied around this, and we're going to get into that in a little bit. But before we do, shout out to the couple hundred people who are here watching the show. This is the X&C Podcast. We're here live on the Colteastwood channel. I'm here with Game On Dailies, Gaz, who is my co-host.
Listen, Joe, you've made it big. That means we get to ask the big boy questions, yeah? You're not indie anymore. You've made it. You made it. It's time to get in on the. I see Special Nick in the chat. It's being nice and shit. I saw the show like being nice and stuff. This is how you do it. Like watch and learn, Special Nick. Oh no, I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna make your life difficult, Joe. I have a fair few questions to ask, but your journey is quite an endearing one, which is something I tend to associate with indie developers. But
absolutely,
how are we doing this, Cole? Do you want to lead? I have a whole laundry list of questions for Joe.
Some of the stuff that we want to cover starting off the show is we'll kind of bounce off of Joe, what's been going on in the industry and what's been going on in the gaming news. So there's a couple of spicy topics I think that Joe can kind of take some jabs and hooks with us. The price of games,
That'd be
the price of
interesting.
games, this physical like DRM type thing that's going on. Forza versus Gran Turismo, some really funky situations going on in the gaming news.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
That
That'd be
brings up
very
a little bit
interesting.
of a good conversation. You know,
But
some
we should
people
bring that in the end. No, this is Joe's time to shine. We have to ask a few topical questions.
Well,
Especially when my energy levels are high.
I've got my own set of questions. Gaz, why don't you lead? Tell the audience what you know about this game, and then we'll have Joe kind of fill in the rest of what it is. Kind of give them a little intro, because I don't know if people are, you know, keyed in on everything, because they're blowing up on Twitter and Reddit and on the Steam storefront, basically.
Yeah, well, but then me introducing the game, Joe, how would you sell it in a few words? Like, what is Hypercharge? Why? What made you do it? You can mention drugs if that's the case.
So we'll start with what made us do it. And it was just, there's 5 of us, and we'd now and then meet up, you know, just as friends, discuss games, and we met up in Scotland, went to Edinburgh, and we're all just literally, I think we're all eating pizza, having a bit of a good time, and we're like, you know what I miss Counter-Strike rat maps, D_rats. Don't know if anybody's familiar with them. If you played old school Counter-Strike, you will. And then we're like, yeah, it was so fun, you know, playing it at that scale. And then we thought, oh, I remember Small Soldiers. And then we're like, yeah, the action figures, I used to have them, I loved them. And then we thought, oh, Sarge's Heroes. So it kind of like this ball of nostalgia just kept spiraling out of control. And then we were just literally like, we're all a bit drunk, you know, like, why don't we just make this game where your action figures, like, this is so cool. And that's kind of how it started. Just
that's crazy.
Just the love of our childhood and the love of action figures as well. Because we are, especially the Josh, the lead 3D artist on the team, he's a fanatic with action figures, which helps because he makes all the action figures in game.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Wow.
Yeah, he's so talented, honestly. And
there's a ninja action figure that comes in that just like, it's a callback to my childhood. And the way it's animated, it's like classic video game ninja, but also like 80s ninja, like all in plastic. But yeah, go ahead. I love it.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's a scary enemy that it does like forward flips, and yeah. The way we designed it was we wanted it to like close down space quickly. So if you're camping, the ninja will get to you quick. But yeah, I can't remember the question you said after. So that was sort of how we came up with it. Then you asked a second question after that, I think.
So how did you come up with it? It's quite interesting. So it's a bunch of lads. I can just imagine the pub just going, "Oh mate, it'd be really like good if it's like
let's make a game, bro."
And it's like someone has just sat there like, these guys are pissed. They're not going to make a video game, just sitting there talking nonsense. And then there you go, you quit. But what I'm intrigued at, there's 5 of you, just 5 of you. What's your history in game development? Because this looks really proficiently just in everything. And I want to talk about netcode in a bit as well. But how did you go back?
So we do have a history. It gets quite deep, so I won't go into it too much because it'd take too long probably. But essentially, we all have known each other since probably 2013. And we're not all based in the UK. So us, Digital Cyber Cherries, the actual team on Hypercharge, the studio is virtually based in the UK, but the rest of the team is Germany and the US. Yeah, which is quite interesting. And we originally worked on a Steam game called Contagion, which was a spiritual successor to Zombie Panic Source, which is like one of the most played Half-Life modifications on Steam at the time. And which was interesting to work on. And unfortunately, we were so hold on, let me wind back a bit. So because I always forget this crucial part. So the rest of the team, I would say they grew up with game dev, like going to university and things like that, which is awesome. But myself, you know, I am an integral part of the team in terms of a developer. Like I do a lot more than just marketing, but my forte is marketing and PR. But I only started working on the game full time in 2020 because I left school at 15 and joined the family business as a painter and decorator. And
Oh, okay.
so I and then when I was about 22, that's when I met the guys on Contagion. But I was plowing every minute and every hour when I got home, trying to learn about game development, learn about marketing. I've learned so much.
Well,
So
how did you bump into these guys? Like you bumped into they're like in Contagion. You were just a fan?
Yes. So I forgot another big piece to it. So when I was 15, I used to make fan websites for like just video games that I loved.
Oh,
And
okay.
I made quite a few. I wasn't bothered if they would fail. It was more I enjoyed developing and maintaining communities for various games, and some of them would become quite popular, like Left 4 Dead, for example. I had at the time one of the biggest Left 4 Dead 1 and Left 4 Dead 2 fan groups, and I got developers used to reach out and like thank me, and I'd get to know certain developers. They'd give me advice, so it was really cool. At the time, I didn't realize, but it was sort of networking. And I met friends in the industry. So with Contagion, I loved that game, and I ended up making such a popular community for that game. I ended up like a lot of it. Their Kickstarter campaign their success was down to what I was doing. A lot of it. So the CEO of that was like very sort of appreciative of what I was doing, and he offered me kind of like not an official part-time job, but more a bit of a contract. He understood my position working, and he said, "Look, I'll give you X amount of money. You can put X amount of time in this." And I was like, "Wow, this is like official then." So that's how I met the guys. They were from Hypercharge. And
when you say you met at that pub, you physically all of you through the US the German.
So we didn't physically meet. This was on like online. So then,
okay.
So when we were all working on Contagion, and then it didn't really work out, and that we all decided to leave together, the 5 of us.
Okay.
And then we started Digital Cyber Cherries, and that's when we decided all to meet up as friends. And we've met up many times after that. But it's funny with us, you see, as a team, a lot of things, the way we came together is through sort of a bit of heartache and us nearly sort of collapsing as a team. So we had, because it was with the Contagion thing, it was a horrible time. I won't go into the reasons sort of why, but we had to leave and get out of there. And then from there.
Is that what you allude to when you say, and we'll go touch upon it in a bit about the ordeal you've had to contend with on social media, but is that what you're alluding to when you say the tears and the struggle that you had to go through?
Some of it is, yeah. Some of it is. That is definitely part of it.
Okay.
Because when did that all happen? Like, it seems like it was a fairly recent problem where you guys were getting too much negative pressure from the gaming community or from certain fans. What happened there? It was like, this is like 2 weeks ago or a week ago.
So this was when it actually started happening, sort of when I started to. So I will say this before I go into this. What I'm about to say isn't pointing fingers at Xbox community or Xbox as a whole. I am not generalizing anybody. It's just more pointing fingers at toxic people. And I'll say in general, just toxic sort of assholes. Pardon my French. I can say assholes in here, can I?
You can say whatever you want now that I'm here. Right. Just get it as a family show.
So I started trying to think. We knew we were going to launch an Xbox. We've got the dev kits already.
Yeah.
And I thought, right, let's see if how people respond to this game on a different platform. Because again, yes, the game has been out. We've never hidden the game's past, but it's a new game it's new to players who don't have it on that platform. If you see what I mean. Yeah. So we tailored sort of the marketing towards that. But I think it might be May or April. I started doing some tweets, and they would, like you said, they were well received. Like nothing like what's happened the last week, but they'd go quite viral. And I kept doing that quite a lot because we don't have any marketing budget. We don't have an agency who's going to do this for us. You know, I am the marketing department, and it's like, what do you do if you don't have any money? Imagine you can't just sit on an island and not build a bridge and wonder why people aren't coming to you. You know, we have to be proactive and say, hey, well, this is our game. And it was just the abuse from people it was getting more and more because the game was becoming more sort of viral. For example, Chris Charler, the direct chap, he retweeted quite a few things, and then more people would retweet things, and people were getting very frustrated that we weren't announcing a release date.
Is that what it was? Mostly people said, "Give us the date."
So that was kind of the tipping point for me, but it was also like that wasn't what gave me the breakdown. It was part of it, but it was more mental health in general is something that, you know, we all go through. But for me, it's something I've struggled with quite a bit from my early 20s. And you have to understand, like, being the face of the company, so to speak, since 2015. I've held in so much stuff, all this abuse from like in general online from people like, you know, people attacking me personally because the game isn't how they like it to be. People almost blackmailing me because if we don't change a certain thing in the game, they'll leave a negative review, but very nasty about it.
Jeez.
People, I mentioned this as well on certain reviews online, especially Steam reviews. I would reply to some reviews, you know, as nicely as I can. And we have a certain bit of a bad cult following where anybody can do this. So you can do something. I'm sure you can still do it. You can change the HTML in Chrome, and you can edit sort of the response of what someone said and screenshot it. So you don't actually edit the response on Steam's backend, but they can take a screenshot and it looks completely real. So people would fabricate what I have said. And then, and it wasn't like on a massive scale, but it was just so annoying because
it only takes one person.
Yeah, exactly. And I am a sensitive person. I have a lot of empathy, and it did affect me. Especially,
same.
You know, what makes it worse?
I'm the opposite, but I feel
that's good. But coming from school, you see, I was bullied a lot. I've gone to counselling for many years in my early 20s, probably about 7 years consistently, just to maintain it. And
this is probably the worst position for you, man. You literally put yourself out there.
Yeah, I know. It's just I didn't think it would. It kind of went. How can I word it? It kind of you don't
like
believe things that you don't believe what people say at first. This is how I describe it. It's like, imagine if someone would give you a prod, and you're like, you know what, that doesn't really bother me. And then a couple of months go on, and it starts to get a bit more consistent, and you're like, you know what, it's a bit, something's irritating me a bit now. A couple of years, and you're like, it's starting to hurt a bit this now, but what is it? You don't really know what it is because you're getting used to it. And then all of a sudden, it's like, and you're like, you know what, this hurts. And you're like, what is it? And because and then it's so consistent. When somebody tells you you are something for so long, you do believe it. And that's where I was kind of in mentally, in sort of the game development world, where it was like, I felt like because I came out of decorating, had no qualifications, that I shouldn't be here. I believe just everything people were saying about me.
Here's what the problem is. You have a 5-person team. You guys, right now, we've noticed in this gaming community, in the industry, that any developer that makes themselves available for comment, question, or critique or whatever is painted a huge target on them. And we've seen it with big developers like Cory Barlog, who's working on God of War Ragnarok with that team. Like hey, I'm going to be out in the public and I'm going to respond to people. And they think that these people see it as a green light to go attack. And what happens with you, Joe, is you have this small team. You don't have marketing, but Twitter is a really easy place to push your game and talk about it. And it's been really good. So it's this double-edged sword where you have a really great access to thousands and thousands or millions of fans of gaming or of your game, but it also gives certain people easy access to pelt you. And one more thing that I got to say, for any of you who say, you know what, just have thick skin. If you're a content creator or a game creator or a creator of something and someone attacks what you do, it's part of you. It really is. And so what Joe's going through is he works with this team. They're building this great thing that has excited a lot of people. They're number 2 trending on the storefront at Steam right now, which is a massive deal for anybody, whether you're 5 people or 500. And it's not just thick skin. Like an attack is an attack on what you create and what you are and what you're building and what you're trying to be. So the game looks phenomenal. People are super excited. The next thing I got to ask is one of the things that some of the industry people have been talking about is that developers and publishers are kind of talking about a mass exodus, Joe, to move away from Twitter completely as a communication point and keeping all their communication within industry people on LinkedIn, get away from Reddit and get away from Twitter. Have you had this talk with your team about how you should step back or make compromises about how you talk to the community?
It's something I didn't really fully open up to him about until probably last week, which if you don't tell people, they don't really know. So for me, it's more being open about it and honest to people around me and myself, because I think, I know it sounds, I think the words, contradictive in a way, in a sense that, hey Joe, why are you doing all this if it affects you so much? But the thing is, I'm trying to say it to myself more. I am very good at my job, and I think why I'm good at my job is because I'm very sensitive. I have a lot of emotional intelligence and I have a lot of empathy, which a lot of AAA studios will say is a key thing for community managers when you look into them more. And this is why I think the marketing's good, and because I put my heart and soul into the video clips that I do, I really try and think, how will this resonate with our audience? So this is why I wouldn't want to step away from it, because that side I love. And I have forgotten the good side, the community. Well, I did up until now, but yeah, I can't step away from it, because as well, without me, the marketing department, we're not going to make money. That's had pressure on me. But I think this has been a life-changing moment for me. It's been a life-changing moment, the whole thing. But in terms of, the mental side, it's I've realized that it's a very vocal minority. It's frame of mind, and we'll never control toxic people. And it's not about controlling them. They can do what they want. And they will. But we can control how we react. And this is something I've learned in counseling. It's what I've learned through life, but it really hit home more so recently, because I had a lot of big companies reach out who phoned me and gave me loads of advice and said the same thing. So it was amazing.
Really, that's nice. That must have been nice.
Yeah, I know. So Splash Damage was one of them who who got in touch. The CEO of that, had an hour talking to me, it was wonderful.
That's wicked. That's nice.
Yeah, but going to that, what you said earlier about, it is frustrating when people say, "Oh, you just have thick skin." It's like, just don't let it bother you. And I'm like, oh, just let me press the button to have thick skin. It's just a very inconsiderate and silly thing to say. And this is why.
To be completely honest, I've always actually said that before. I always say that. And listening to you, because I was going to ask you about that. Very open, very different-minded, very different. Yeah. I got bullied through school. My trajectory was pretty rough upbringing, but then I did get expelled from school because then I turned into a bit of a rascal. But my upbringing is different, and I'm trying to understand the human element of it. And one of the questions I was going to ask, when I did see you tearful on that stream, I was like, my question was, how why is he doing that? Why can't he not just switch, like, not do it? But now I understand how stupid, well, not stupid, I know what you're talking about. All the marketing hinges on you, Joe.
Yeah.
Without you, the game fails. You can't switch it off. You're going to be hurt. You are sensitively. I'm sensitive in some ways as well. But you doing this over a period of years, and that analogy that you gave of it's a little, little pricking pain here, then it's a bit numbing, and then it gets a bit dull, and then it just hits, and then you start believing what they say. But I know you're on cloud 9. I know you've done it, but I think it's really important that you realize, even though you may or may not, you made it. You're number 2 on Steam. Bro, where you are now, there will be a sea of developers trying to get to where you guys are. Bro, you killed it. You made it. That's it.
I know it gets me a bit emotional now thinking about it.
Bro, you killed it. That's it, man. Bro, you know how many people I keep saying, bro, like a brah. No, but bro, you genuinely made it. Let's go to Thailand and get lit. No, I mean, yeah.
Hypercharge was posting often on Twitter this past couple weeks, like as this rumbling started to come up, where everybody kind of seen the game here or there, and then they started to kind of really click in, like, this is a thing. This is coming. They were asking for enough retweets to say when they want to launch on Xbox. And then last week, just correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, but last week is when I saw, you name it, games journalists covering Hypercharge. I saw all the big outlets.
I saw
just this last week, Joe. I don't know if this was happening little by little before, but it was you guys have blown up to where you're in the mainstream media full tilt next to God of War Ragnarok's release date. Everyone was writing about your game just like they were writing about the other major big exciting games.
And that's thanks to you, man. I'm not just saying that because, I mean, you know me. I already told you, like, I was like telling you to grow thick skin, but I'm the same breath. I'm telling you, Hypercharge, you 5 guys, whoever built the game, it's on you that you marketed it. It was your tweets that I saw where you forced me to retweet your no, it was you. You did it. There will be people gunning for you now. Like, to get a job. I'm sure you're getting good job offers all up the yin yang. I don't know how to say.
Been a lot
so
of
you said that you're starting to hear some questions about publishing. I got to ask about, you got to tell the audience here, there's a lot of our audience is Xbox centric. What was the pitch? Like, how does Xbox come into the equation with Hypercharge? How did you approach that? Like, what is the situation right now? Because there's a lot of questions about the other platforms. You're fully on Steam right now. The full game that as it stands, right, is on Steam, and the demo is on Steam. So tell us about the story of Hypercharge when it comes to Xbox.
Could I just quickly respond to Gaz about what he mentioned, and then I'll get on to that, actually, because I think it's important, especially with the viewers on here, is just, mentioning about how people are more thick-skinned. I don't know the better word to use. But
I don't know. We're just... But
but I think an example is about it is like I've had family member. I have family members who've been molested, and they've learned to they've learned a coping mechanism where they can live their life and accept it. And I've had friends who've committed I've had a friend who's committed suicide through bullying. And what I'm saying is abuse is abuse. It doesn't matter what one goes through. I thought my friend was fine. But some people in life go, oh, there's an old saying now, sticks and stones can break your bones, but words can kill me. It's changed now, and it's very true. And you don't know what people are going through, and everybody takes things differently. And so if anybody is struggling with mental health watching this, honestly, please, the first step is to talk to somebody. Do not be embarrassed. Do not be ashamed. Like, it just means it means that you're just a human being, and it's completely fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't mean you're weak or anything like that. And
Yeah,
this is why I'm so thankful for what happened. Like, I never planned for anything with the statements I put out. I was just, I'll admit, I was a bit drunk at the time. I was so down. I just didn't even think. I mean,
is that why you were drunk? Because you were so like,
yeah,
the
my
impact.
I was my partner. She's a nurse, so she was at work. She does a lot of nights, so a lot of times I'm on my own. And my friend was he's having to move house. My other friend was on a holiday. My best friend on the team, and all the pressure.
Yeah.
You see, what makes it difficult for me is leaving the business.
Family business, painting.
Yeah, my dad is my best friend, and for me, I'm not materialistic. I couldn't really give a crap about money. It's nice to be. It's nice for it to ease stress, but you can't take any of it with you. And I have a good perception of comparison looking back through what I was earning then, and leaving my the pressure comes. A lot of the pressure for me was. It's my dad's not very well. He has a brain tumor, and he can't afford to retire. So I'm just. It was always in the back of my mind where I'm like, if this fails, I can't. Oh, sorry.
No, you can't support him. That's it. That's all on you, bro. You're on so much pressure, man. That's like ridiculous amounts of pressure. But you made
and
it, man.
98 or 99% of this community is super hyped and excited about like this experience they're going to have. And I know, I'm older, much older than both of you, and I grew up in a time when you laid on the garage floor or in the backyard or on the couch and played with action figures like this. And I suppose younger kids don't play with as many like plastic toys and figures like this, but this means something. People aren't just excited because the game looks fun. I think what you guys are building, when a game can mean a lot to people and bring back a memory and let them relive those moments, and building this game is going to serve so many purposes for your team and for you personally. That's what I said. It's not about growing thick skin. There's a lot riding on this, and it's a lot of heart, soul, and guts and sweat and tears. And if somebody comes with an insult, they're human garbage, because it's not about thick skin. The person that tells you to have thick skin normally only has 13 eyes on them, 13 sets of eyes. And right now you have a million eyes on you.
No, but
it's a lot more pressure.
You represent Hypercharge. Like, it's your struggle. I think it's your very human interaction. You're here right now. It's sharing. And by the way, very, very grateful that you are so candid and telling us heartfelt things. I've got a list of questions here, and I thought if I can ask these questions, they're a bit. And the bit I had in orange was like number 13, the fiasco. You were upset and you broke it down. But that question is moot now, because you, out of your own accord, have shared your human experience, man. And Hypercharge for me is your struggle. That everything that I hate about AAA development, everything I love about indie development, you embody it, your struggle. And like your dad, does your dad know about this?
Yeah, I mean, my dad's
the success that's gone on.
He's super proud of me. I mean, he wanted me to get out of decorating, but it's just been a lot of pressure. Like the marketing and the team we've all put in the work, but as you know, an indie game without marketing, most games will fail. So they haven't put the pressure on me. It's more I've wanted to prove to myself, because of my background, prove to my dad. I just want to help my family, and that's the biggest thing for me. I'm more excited about helping people. I'm not bothered about fancy cars. I'm not bothered about big houses. As long as I can do what I love, that's being rich.
Man. I'm beating you in West Yorkshire, bro. We are getting lit. I need to meet you because in this space I've surrounded by so many. Sorry, this is a family show. Beeps.
And Gaz will pick you up in his fancy car.
My little Civic that's gonna break. No, man, bro. I don't know what to say, Joe. Man, I make fun of it. Comedy is my way of handling serious things as well. That's my way of dealing with things, but and also making fun of other people. But with you, I just love everything about you, man. You're just human. You're just transparent. You deserve the globe. But the thing I need to say is you made it, man, to a level that is insane. Why are you sitting there? You must be on cloud 9. There'll be a sea of people trying to get where you are, and you helped make that happen, man. I'm just and I'm honored to be in the presence of someone who's an incredible human being, who's human, who's transparent.
Honestly.
Man, you're such a nice guy, bro. I'm a piece of compared to you.
Well, behind every game we love, there are people like Joe that we don't get to talk to. We don't even get to see these people. But this,
but that's 343.
multi-million-dollar development cycles for major games are not achieving what Hypercharge is right now. This is incredible.
Hypercharge has more content than Halo.
Oh my gosh!
It would be XNC if he did make fun of Halo,
bro.
Sorry.
I don't know if you're watching this, but I was showing the customization, and when you flip through the customization, the character kind of shakes in the box a little bit. Like these little attention to details are amazing.
Amazing,
yeah. There's so much attention to detail. A lot of that you'll probably miss.
Yeah, but that's the kind of attention to detail that I respect, man.
Yeah, and one of the hallmarks of Hyper.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, one of the hallmarks of Hypercharge is like no pay to win, no you can do online, offline, split screen, solo, all that stuff, which we'll get into later. But did you have any other questions that you wanted to jump in before I have him kind of explain the trajectory into the Xbox platform?
Oh, yeah, sorry, I feel like there's time pressure. I want to ask a trillion questions, but I want to ask, you've kind of, why did you pick Xbox for PlayStation?
It's a good question. It's a good question.
Yeah.
So basically, Steam is amazing, obviously, for us right now.
Yeah.
But it's because of the Xbox promotion that has transitioned all these customers to Steam. This was never planned. The whole idea was to try and get people to sign up to the Xbox newsletter, which we're nearly at 50,000 now in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So,
I'm one of them.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. So what made us do it is, going back to Steam, is something I've learned through the marketing is through the type of game Hypercharge is, Steam is actually, and I say worse, it's probably the wrong word, but if you bear with me, is the worst platform to resonate with our audience. And kind of what I mean is, through finding out the marketing that I did earlier on this year with Xbox, it resonated consistently so well, particularly with Xbox players more than any other platform. And it's not favoring platforms at all. We have a big following on TikTok, for example. And
really?
Yeah. The majority on there were just like asking about Xbox. So this is kind of like what led me to thinking, you know what, Xbox could be a big thing for Hypercharge, because I don't know like the demographics of it all and whatnot, and the age sort of who owns consoles, but I do know this: if you're a parent, it's much easier to turn on your Xbox and play split screen as opposed to getting in an office, getting a chair up there and trying to set. If you see what I mean. So Xbox just seems to be Hypercharge. I believe is tailor made for Xbox in many ways, and I think this is why it has local co-op, split screen, offline, as well as there's no gore or profanity. Literally, you don't die, you break apart. The bullets you fire, another tiny detail. They fire plastic BB pellets. You can see the little BB.
Oh, is that what they are? They're like plasma BBs.
That now, yeah. That's what
you can see them. Literal plastic on the floor, and when you're in PvP, when you collect ammo, you collect cat BB pellet cartridges.
Mine's downloading now. It's downloading. So, that's crazy.
Awesome. Well, that's so cool.
But why? But that doesn't answer the question. Why Xbox over PlayStation?
So we are going on PlayStation. It just happens that because it's been so well received by Xbox. We're going to do Xbox first. And it's also to do with production and our team size. It makes sense for us to launch on platforms separately because as a marketer, my opinion is more so for... I think even for AAAs, I'm not a big fan of launching a game on all platforms at the same time. Now, I know if you can get cross-platform support working, maybe it makes sense. So maybe it's not, maybe not so much towards AAAs, but for indies, it's like, if you think about it this way, if we were to launch on, let's say Nintendo Switch, and the game did quite poorly, you haven't got any real numbers to go to Xbox or PlayStation and say, hey, look, our game did quite well. Can we ship it? Because that's what Xbox are looking for, games that will do well, because it's a business. They want to make money. So this is what's really good for us. I can do all this marketing beat for Xbox, a campaign, and I'm not pressured having to handle another PlayStation launch. But what it's done is now, because it's gone so well with Xbox, and it will go so well when we launch, we're going to go to PlayStation with the figures and be like, listen, this is how well we've done.
Give us more money.
Yeah, and I think you want to really do a big marketing push for us. So that's kind of why. So it gives you more sort of positive leverage, and it's good. It is also good for PlayStation, because we've done the work for them in a way, the research. We've shown them there is an audience. We can make you a lot of money. You help, I scratch your back, you scratch mine type of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh,
so
okay.
You've got the build up and going. It's on Steam. How are you getting the game to Xbox? Did you get access to a development kit, or what is the process? Are you even involved in that at all, about how you get Hypercharge on an Xbox version?
And how was that support for Microsoft? That's awesome.
Yes, good question.
Excuse me. So it was Chris Child who reached out, and I don't know.
Nice.
I think he sorted. I think we had a development kit a while ago. We just never really bothered with it as much. But then things got a bit outdated on the back end, like the administration side. And when Chris Child saw a viral tweet on Twitter, I'm sure he sorted us out with getting the ball rolling, in a sense.
He contacted you then.
Yeah, on Twitter. He saw it.
Now, audience, if you're not following along, Chris Charla is the head of ID at Xbox.
Yeah,
and he's the face. He's the lead for ID at Xbox, and he's the reason these indies go on the platform on Xbox. And one of the reasons why indies are so prevalent on the Xbox this past generation and a half. So that's the one that Joe's talking about that reached out. So go ahead, Joe.
So yeah, he reached out. He wanted to schedule a meeting, and we told him about our plans, told him about what we were understanding with the audience, what we're seeing. And yeah, he got everything sort of moving quicker for us. And then since then, we ported the game over using the dev kits. It went very smoothly, which is good. It runs fantastically. And I'll be honest, on true high definition like TVs, it looks amazing.
It does.
It does, yeah. It looks.
I was playing this on my 4K OLED today, guys, and I was running this off of Steam on my PC, but knowing what I know about the tech, it should look very, very similar on the Series X. So, but that's just me predicting. But yeah, so far running pretty well, huh? Yeah,
amazing. And we've not even sort of dived deep into the optimization, but I mean, it's going to be, I know, like in terms of frame rates, it's going to be solid. It's going to be very performant. It's just going to be silky smooth. It's going to be so
You're
good.
Seeing this at 30 frames, chat. This is a limitation of the program that I use to run the show, which I'll upgrade this later on when I get a little more time. But this game was, this footage was recorded at 60 frames. And then the very first montage was all of Joe's cool Twitter posts where I kind of slammed them all together. And then those are all at 60 frames that are really low quality because of Twitter. But this gameplay is me playing at 4K 60, which is about what it would look like. But this is 30 frames here. But yeah, very smooth. And the third-person gunplay, I'll speak for Joe since Gaz hasn't played it. But the game runs at 60, and Joe's saying it'll have high performance on the consoles as well. So yeah, you get 60 frames. The gunplay feels really good. The button mapping is B to switch views, which is kind of strange. I didn't mess with it, but you can go into first person and you can flip the camera in third person from left to right.
Yeah.
And see me do that in the game, and I'm just kind of figuring that out. And you've got a voiceover guy yelling at your character like, "These bouncy balls are coming in, and they're doing exactly what they're supposed to do, bounce in and destroy everything." And then you're trying to protect these hyper cores, and he's yelling at you, and you're not doing your job. And it's just got a really cool, just a really cool vibe, really great.
Before we go off, because I could talk to you all day about this, Joe. What next? You've done it. Like, surely you guys. Oh, obviously you got.
Well, there is one question that comes after the Xbox platform, Gaz. I don't know if you have thought to write this down, but there is one more goal that Joe and his team would like to push regarding Xbox. I don't know if you can fill in the blanks.
Why does Xbox have no games?
Right now, I think the team at Hypercharge is hoping that Game Pass is going to be looking at Hypercharge as a prospect.
You might be putting him in hot water there.
No, that is so.
Nope.
I think we've had Xbox have reached out. So the funny thing is, a lot of people from Xbox have reached out to us and they've told us that everybody has seen Hypercharge and they're talking about it.
That's wicked.
Yes.
So
we've had good.
We've had multiple meetings with different lovely people from there, and we mentioned Game Pass was mentioned as something that before all this blew up, that basically we'll see how the game is being received when you get closer to your sort of launch date. So I mean, but I can't talk too much about Game Pass in terms of I don't, as in like I'm not too knowledgeable about how it works of the revenue share and what you get.
No one is.
No, and I don't know what the risk versus reward it really entails, but at least they didn't say no straight off the bat. So it's a Game Pass is a possibility only if it makes sense for us as a team, you know?
Would it surely Microsoft are having this conversation. Absolutely. Phil Spencer watches this. Hi Phil. I know you love me. They're all watching this. This game would surely for you guys it's player numbers now. Like it's like the big healthy player numbers. You got very positive on Steam right now. The players are loving it on Steam. Surely you want to get now the numbers in. It's all about the numbers. And you get a fat paycheck anyway to get the game on Game Pass.
I mean, if they said, here's 2 million, I'd just take it straight away. I'd just say, listen, Dad, buy him a house, pay for all his debt. That's it, he's done. I'd do it in a heartbeat. But
Microsoft?
Phil, if you're watching this, I'll give you my dad's PayPal.
Just throw mine in there as well.
Hey, real quick, shoehorn in there. What kind of modes are in? This is like a tower defense wave mode type mode that's in the game. Like what else? What other types of modes or features in the game can you tell us about?
So you're gonna like this. So people call it our very early marketing and the very early iteration of Hypercharge was very tower defense focused, but it's more. It's less tower defense focused. I'd call it more sort of defense building mechanics because it doesn't share a lot of the same qualities that a traditional tower defense would. It's not even as close to Orcs Must Die, where that's way more wave based as well, and more tower defense. But the thing with Hypercharge, it's very, and I'll answer the question, but it doesn't have much of competition. It's more stands on its own 2 feet, which is a good thing. But as for game modes, it's got the wave-based game mode where you can build things. And I will say, in fairness to us, we are completely overhauling and improving the building aspects because it is something a lot of players do like. So maybe it will get more tower defense like in the future, but it's primarily more wave-based. So trying to defeat hordes of toys at the same time, while trying to protect something called the hypercore. So it's kind of objective-based and wave-based. And then we have classic team deathmatch and deathmatch. So you have team deathmatch where it's red versus blue, which is pretty cool, And then you've got, which I hope people in the chat and you guys remember, we've got our own inspired version of Time Splitters 2 virus mode, which
Jeez.
is really fun. And you know what? It's so popular. That is on Steam right now. But the thing is, guys, the versions that are on now, and this is why we didn't really want to give a release date so much, you know, putting aside all the abuse and stuff, is we've got so much in store for Hypercharge that we want first impressions count, and we want to give Xbox players the best version of Hypercharge possible. I've said this numerous times. So the version of PvP, so PvP is getting really overhauled. Plague mode is getting really overhauled. Wave mode is getting really overhauled. And also, when we launch an Xbox, the story campaign is going to be in for, you know, we've got a whole story for the wave-based mode. So it won't be a dedicated story campaign. It will just be a story added to the waves mode. So you understand, why are you defending the hypercore? What is the objective? It'll be a linear story. So the very first level, as you progress, you get closer to the end and you'll defeat a boss. So it's very 90s inspired, good versus evil. So there's lots of classic good game modes in there.
Surely you're going to be looking to expand your team after this, no? This is becoming something of a creature now.
So we have had, obviously, like, there's 5 of us, but we have to, like, outsource certain contractors, for example, voice acting, because I can't do that. But maybe we really, what our dream is to keep as close tied as possible and small. We don't ever want that to change. So if it means we can do things at our own pace and people have to wait, so be it. That's what will have to happen. You know, we've got this far somehow. After all the, you know, heartache we've gone through, so I can't see why we can't keep it up. Because at the end of the day, if there is a need for the game, and publishers or whatever know we're going to sell, they're not going to rush us, and I don't think they would at this stage.
Yeah, I doubt anyone's going to rush you now, especially Microsoft putting pressure on it. Finally, I want to ask you on the netcode side of things. Actually, will we ever get crossplay?
So we partially have it working. So our hope is to make it, what do you call it? Cross-platform agnostic, I think it is. So we want it to work on. I think that's the right. So it works on all platforms. That's what we want. So Xbox, PlayStation, Steam can all play together. And then what's really cool is what we have already implemented is into the lobby system. So how you play with friends online is, I don't know how it works on other platforms, but I know in some games you have to play with a friend on other consoles. Sometimes you have to create up like an annoying account or something like that. And who really wants to do that? You just want to play with a friend. With us, with what we've designed, it's really clever, is you have when you start a lobby, you have a unique 5-digit invite code. All you do is read that code off. So say I'm on an Xbox, you're on PlayStation, I just say, hey guys, here's my code. You type it in, and then you join the lobby, and it's that simple.
It's like Smash Bros. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it'd be very simple. So hopefully it depends. It just depends. We might not get it working universally across all platforms, but there will be cross-platform support on most of them. Hopefully.
Nice.
Anyway.
Nice.
Let me read one of these super chats since Joe's here. This is from Matt Tichbon with the £10 super chat. Thank you, Matt. He says, what an ecstasy I can stay up for. Props to Gaz and Joe. Staying up late in this blistering UK heat. Loving what I've seen of Hypercharge. Can't wait to play it on Xbox with my 7-year-old. Roll on 2023. So you did a little, let me switch this back to something like this. You did a little challenge on Twitter, Joe, to get a release window, an expectation, right? Yeah. You said, hey, if I get this many retweets or this many likes, we'll tell you about when we want to launch or when we'd like to try to launch on Xbox. And what have you guys said? Are you still feeling good about that? Or,
I mean, yeah,
that was a week ago.
They knocked it out of the park. I think it got nearly 10,000 retweets in a day. So
what was it that you were asking for? What was the number? Because when I've been following your tweets, and I missed the tweet by like 8 hours, and when I saw it, it was.
So I said something like, 1,000 retweets. And then if you look at the replies, I was having a lot of fun with the fans there. I was like, "Hey yo, slow down," and I was like in capitals, "Hey yo, seriously, slow down." You're going too fast. But yeah,
That's
no.
wicked.
Release date, we're up and about it now, so we are hoping to launch Q1 2023. So, and it could be earlier, it could be a lot earlier. It just depends.
But how far in does Q1 go for next year?
So I'd say March, April.
Yeah,
but it could be a lot earlier. But I'm giving us a lot of leeway, you see.
Yeah, don't rush it, man.
Sure. I mean, it sounds like you guys have new ideas and fresh things you're dropping in. So, as Gaz and I always say, just wait. It is. We've seen so many games do like everything they want to do with a little bit of wait time. So I think we're all on board for you guys to push that into next year and make it amazing. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. Let's see what we got. Viper XD, thanks for the Canadian 5, says Xbox console exclusive Bright Memory Infinite releases in 10 days on July 21st. That's another small team. Curious to see how that's going to turn out. The demo was people are kind of a little iffy on that. Special Agent Fox Mulder, kind of a fairly new guy in the community. Thanks for the $5 super. He says, I was born in 91. I just want to say thank you, Joe, for letting me play my entire childhood on Xbox. So excited.
That's awesome. That's so nice to hear. No, this is the thing with Hypercharge. Like, I have literally had over the years dozens of mums, dads, sisters, and brothers email me, thanking us for making this game. I had one particular one where a brother rekindles his relationship with his brother. He said it brought them together. It was so nice to read. I'll try and find that, and I'll try and retweet it because I remember asking him, could I post it? He said yes. But and then I've had literally fathers saying, you know, the thing with Hypercharge, it's like, I call it cross-generation nostalgia. So if you're if you were in the late 80s, early 90s, and you know, you grew up with like Small Soldiers, Sarge's Heroes, films like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, etc. And then you have a kid, say you're in your 30s or whatever, you get to share your childhood with your children, but at the same time, their kids are growing up with Toy Story still and action figures. So it's like a double wham of nostalgia and like loving memories that comes together. And it's Hypercharge does sort of ignite that nostalgic flame. And I think that's what makes it very special. And one thing I will say is Hypercharge is very much like Marmite to an extent. You either hate it or you love it. So the people who don't like it, and you see this on Steam, they'll just go in there expecting that it's Fortnite or Call of Duty, and they won't give it a chance, which is fair enough. You know, it's their opinion.
Sure.
But the people who actually understand what the game is about, they don't just like it; they absolutely love it. Honestly, the people who like it always love it. Like, they're so impressed.
It's you're right with the Marmite analogy, because I find my reaction was obviously in the camp of because that nostalgia is like a tetanus shot. Nostalgia come in with the toys. I could see my bedroom and all my toys, and a lot of people will like that, whereas other people will be like, oh, it's not like Fortnite or COD. In which case, I feel sorry and weep for the new generation.
There are people that might say that when they see like the third person or first person camera view and then the shooty kablooty, right? But then they take a second and they see, because Joe and his team, they have like 20 tweets. Like, I went down the media side of Twitter and screen grabbed all of these little clips they made. And it wasn't just the over-the-shoulder shooting. It was the jetpack flying on top of the plane like you saw and crashing and sniping a guy that's jumping off a boost pad. And it was all these things where all the little Legos come together in your mind. You're like, this game is doing some really cool stuff.
And the Dragon Ball Z ripoff. Welcome. Hello, lawsuit. Lawsuit's coming to you guys. No, I'm kidding. I'm not invited.
Matt Ban, who's been a channel member for 3 months, says, Gorgonite's out. If you know, you know. Who knows what that reference is from?
Small Soldiers.
Yep. Yeah.
Chip Hazard will stop him.
Yeah. I need to watch that.
Look at this.
What's that?
Original 1998.
Oh my gosh.
Chip Hazard original one.
Dang, that's cool.
Yeah, I love it. I had to take it out of the box. I've got the box still up there. I carefully opened it, but I just mess about with it. Even I play with action figures still. I don't want to grow up.
So does King David. It's fine.
Yeah, they call them statues now. John TJ, thank you so much for the 5. He says, "Hi guys, happy birthday, Gaz." It's a running joke going on, Joe, but he says, "I'm excited. There might be a new Midnight Club in development." I don't know. I haven't heard that, but those are cool games. John Whitmer with the $2. Thank you, John. He says, "I've loved it since the Switch release 2 years ago."
John. Yeah, I think he's John. I think he's a moderator on the Discord. He's been a good time fan. Real nice guy.
So yeah, you've been working on the game since 2017, 5 years now.
So 2015 is when technically, when it started. That's when we. I might have got a little bit mixed up with the story, but yeah, that's when we had the iterations. And see, the very first version of Hypercharge was actually going to be more very PvP focused, and because sort of the lack of experience a bit at the time, even though we worked on Contagion, we're still very new novices. We ended up going to about 2016, back end of that. We noticed that we were feature creeping, if you're familiar with that term. So we were adding features to that version of Hypercharge where it was getting too big of a project, and it got to a point where we were like, the game is a bit of a mess. So we ended up getting somebody else on the team to take kind of lead. And then the whole direction changed more to tower defense, because we thought tower defense was a big genre, we could sell it. So at that time, I forgot to say all this. At that time, we brought in a few more members. So there were probably about 7 of 8 of us then. And we spent the next year and the next, I'm getting the times mixed up, but we basically spent a bit of time changing that version to the new version. And then we launched in Steam Early Access. And that was a complete disaster with this new version. It really was. Yeah, all the other new guys who came left. The 5 of us were left, and basically we were just left with this turd in a sense. And and the only thing we could do is we had 2 choices. Do we listen to what little feedback we had received from the early access community and try to shape the game to our vision again a bit more, but don't feature creep? Or do we abandon the game and we'll just have to abandon the company? Because financially, we couldn't. It would have cost more money to. Basically, we couldn't abandon it. If we did, that would have been it. We had to somehow make it work. That early access version.
So you guys went down to the wire.
Yeah. So, and again, I was, doing decorating. The other 2 of them were working somewhere else as well, putting money into it. So we spent, and then again, this is another thing from me. So I had the idea, right, and it's unheard of in the indie scene, is I thought, right, let's try and create a second wind for early access. Let's do early access 2.0. Let's completely change the game again. So pretty much 99% of the game's DNA, the audio, the level design, the UI, the UX, is everything we changed to our vision. So we spent the next year or so hyping early access 2.0. So this was a marketing sort of campaign with no budget or anything. And I think you asked earlier on, has there been articles in the past? Now, Hypercharge has made some of the news in the past, but nothing like now. So we just did campaigns on Imager. Imager at the time was very popular. You got the front page. We made the front page of Reddit a few times. So we had little lifelines that, through the marketing that gave us a bit of an income. Yeah. And when we launched in early access 2017, I think February. Now we earned more sales and got more press coverage, and it wasn't a lot at all, maybe 1 or 2, than we did on the actual release. So we did better re-releasing in early access 2.0 again than we did the first time, which is unheard of. So that gave us a bit of a second lifeline, so to speak. So then what we decided to do was, all right, then let's keep working on the game and improving it. But then it was getting difficult because it was like, again, all the marketing's on me. I'm working still. We're not selling as much. and we kind of put it down to Steam a bit. Like it's just Steam; it doesn't sell as much. It's difficult now. Steam isn't what it used to be. There's too many games, So then we had the idea, let's launch it on the Nintendo Switch. There's no real good first-person shooters on there with gyros, sustaining, the toy theme, the audience, and somehow Deck, the lead programmer, I mean, it was pretty much all him. I don't know how he did it. He got it working because it's hard with this Switch's hardware, especially for a game like ours, where it's very I think the weakest point of a Switch, and correct me if I'm wrong, is the CPU. And our game has a lot of AI sort of bots working, so it's a little bit CPU intensive for the Switch. But we managed to get a good, stable, smooth 30 FPS working, and then we launched it in 2020, and that was another like a third lifeline in a way. Because honestly, at that point, if we didn't get out on the Switch, we would have had to abandon the company again. We just had no money. We're just basically we had no money. So I did a marketing campaign for the Switch. Did my best with that. We ended up getting quite a few relative to our team size, a few thousand pre-orders, enough to keep us afloat. And then that kind of died down a little bit. So it was like, you know what, guys, we've got to keep pushing, try something else. And then obviously COVID were kind of hitting at that point.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah. So, but in a way, it sounds awful as developers. From a business point of view, it was good for people as well because they could connect with new games. But it was good because everybody was on Steam, had record numbers.
Yeah.
So I was always an advocate for Steam and fairness out of everybody on the team. They'll vouch for me that I always call it a sleeping giant. And I was like, let's just not lose hope in Steam. I kept up with the reviews, I kept up with the feedback, I kept up with the store design iterations just to keep it appealing, keep the interest there. And I was like, look, we have very good reviews on Steam Early Access now. We had a few hundred. Let's just reach out to Valve to see, we're launching. It's a cooperative. At the time, there was no player bots, you see. So it was heavily reliant on online multiplayer. And I was like, let's just see what Valve say. And then, funny enough, Valve got in touch and said, look, sorry, no, before that, this is good, before that, now I'm bigging myself up. On the team, people do call me like the viral king because I've made this game go viral so many times.
You have.
Honestly, even like years ago, like the front page of Reddit and other things like, I said to the guys, because I call it viral tingles, I was like, so a week before we were leaving early access on Steam, I said, right, guys, the whole marketing beat was going to be on release. And I said, I've got a feeling, it was on a Saturday, I've got a feeling I need to do these posts now. Something's telling me, I was like, I've got the amazing video clip. Let's do it. So we were at the time 40,000 wish lists. And back then, Valve had done talks, I think, at GDC, and it was known sort of around the game development industry that 50,000 wish lists is what was recommended for a good launch. Now, obviously, for most indies, that's impossible to reach. But because of all the marketing and going viral for those years, I built it up quite high in relative terms. So I was like, I think if we can do these marketing things, we'll get to 50,000. So I put a post on Reddit that made the front page of Reddit. Did a post on Imgur. This is all on the same day. Went to the front page. I did some very old school marketing tactics on Twitch. I had donated some money to some of the biggest streamers, Lyric and Soda Poppin. Altogether, they played about maybe 5-6 hours. They played the game on the same day. This all happened on the same day. So we got so much traction to the Steam store page. The next day, we had quite a bit of sales, but we got over 10,000 wish lists, I think. We got over 50,000. So I was like, yes. And then because I always believed in Steam, I was like, right, look, the stars have aligned. Let's reach out to Valve. Valve got back to us and said, look, the game looks really good. They obviously must have saw the big traction recently on their back end.
Yeah.
And then they said, listen, yeah, we'll help give it a little push for 24 hours. And we actually did become a top seller. It was less than a day, and it sunk down on that release. So that gave us another lifeline.
Is that something that they just do, Joe? Do they just say, "Hey, we're going to give you a 24-hour push," or do you have to pay for some of the marketing push?
So, from my knowledge, I'd say we were incredibly lucky. I don't think you pay them. What they do is with Valve and Steam it's an amazing opportunity where you very much get out what you put in. So I think they saw the interaction with the customers. I think they saw we had lots of positive reviews. They really liked the look of the game. We told them it was an online 4-player cooperative shooter. So probably from a business point of view, I'm not speaking for them, but it was like they thought there's an opportunity here. This game might go really viral. Let's give it a 24-hour push and see. Nice. And they had the numbers of the week before, so it all aligned perfectly. So we and a bit of luck, and that allowed us to then continue to listen to the feedback from the new influx of players we had, and really sort of bring major updates. For example, third-person mode didn't come in until 2021. Player boss didn't come in until I think 2021. Massive game changes to the game, because what it means now is it's not people can enjoy playing on offline more now because they have player bots. So that kept us going, and then up until 2022 till sort of now, and I spoke about that previously with you guys, but that's when we decided to delve into the Xbox stuff. So that's kind of like the history of it, how we've really just I like to call it indie in hell. We went through hell and we got through the other side, and it was just listening to the community, being proactive about things, a hell of a lot of marketing. And one thing that does frustrate me a little bit is when people say, especially on Twitter, about the Xbox release, oh, it's disingenuous, you made it out like the game wasn't even out. And it's like, I've never done that. My intention was with this campaign is never to say the game isn't out. It's at the end of the day, it's a game that is constantly being updated. We've had over 8 major free content updates, and it's coming on a new platform to a new audience. So of course I'm going to tailor that to that audience. And that's what we've done. And that's why it's a success, because it works. Yeah. It's not to be disingenuous.
No, absolutely. I mean, we can see it. We can see those efforts. The fruits of
the Xbox community has been really good. Like when we talked about earlier in the show about people harassing, like honestly, right, Joe, it's 98% of your interactions have been very supportive. Yeah, I would assume. And that's usually how it is. And it's really easy for that 2% or that 3% to be super loud in your eardrums.
It's 6% really on PlayStation, by the way. It's a little bit higher there.
Yes. I mean, yeah, no. Yeah, it is. It can be hard to hear that. But yeah, I mean, Valve and Steam believe in you, and Xbox seems to be believing in what you guys are doing. Yeah. ID at Xbox believes. It's just one of those things. We don't know how the Game Pass. None of us know, because Game Pass offerings are very organic. They approach different developers different ways and offer them different incentives or different contracts to go into Game Pass for 3 months or a year or whatever. And so anybody's story would be totally different. We're here rooting for you. That's just another piece of the puzzle that kind of clicks into place for your team. Because that would be another way for you guys to, compensate for your work. And I know everybody would be excited to either pick up this game at its price point or play it on Game Pass. But Game Pass is like huge. It is an industry changing ordeal. And Gaz is paying $1 for the rest of his life. No. I want to ask you, Joe, about some of this other stuff. When I talk about the price of games, one of the things that's coming up right now, and this doesn't really apply to you, but you see it, there's another big argument popping up about $70 games recently, with Naughty Dog remastering The Last of Us, a game that is, 8 to 10 years old, and they're already remastering it. They've set it at a price point at $70. You've grown up in the games industry and as a customer as well. How are you feeling about the $70 price point, which is kind of only in one corner right now?
I can't think the last time I ever spent that much money on a game. I think my view on it is kind of, it's becoming so digitized, everything. I could understand if you're a hardcore fan and you get like a steel case edition with the cool artwork, a physical thing that you can hold. But when it's all sort of, and I know artists and developers put in work as well, but it feels it's not as tangible, and the connection for me isn't there. So, for example, if I was going to buy, say I was a real big fan of Hypercharge and there was a big package, but it was a limited edition thing, or it was just like a higher tier thing, but I physically got something, I'd be more inclined to buy it. But now it's just like, get a few heads, get early access to it for a week. And it's so easy to fall into that trap. And for me, it's not worth it. And I think in the current climate of things, like with the world going a bit insane.
Yeah.
You know,
with wages and everything.
It's just
market crash, inflation.
The thing is, we as consumers, we buy it, and this is why they do it. You know, they'll always continue to do these prices because they make money from it, and it works. And because the strategy behind it is, you see, they can do a $60, $70 game. 50% sounds like a lot, doesn't it? But it's still $30 or whatever. It's still expensive to a lot of people, but they can get away with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if EA, Rockstar, and PlayStation all set their games at 70, what is it in the UK, Gaz, for you?
It's, PlayStation games are 70 quid.
Yeah, 70 quid. Okay, so it's the same number. And I'm really trying my best. Just a small guy over here in the US trying to be a little more internationally minded. So if you're looking at 70 pounds or $70 for a PlayStation or Rockstar or EA game, right? I think Ubisoft is also thrown in there.
Yeah.
It's not like people are going to say, oh, that $10 too much. Like, they're still going to sell the game. It's kind of like you just bring that price up and people will continue to fall in line. And Joe, you brought in a really good little piece. You kind of like shoehorn this little thing in about the physical. If you get something physical, like a steel case or a tangible disc that's in your collection of games, Gaz, this is something that came up today, that Ubisoft was pulling DLC off of Steam from games you already own because they were expiring or something was being removed, and it was all for nothing. There was the hashtag Forever Physical, Joe, is something that Gaz has fought with people about because people refuse to like move into the future with digital content. But this Ubisoft thing was a mistake. It was a mistaken post. Something was translated incorrectly, or they weren't actually pulling the DLC, so they had to come out and say it. But there was a huge campaign this morning here. It's in the late afternoon where I'm at, but this morning, my time, there was this big campaign to stop buying digital games and only buy physical. Gaz, I got to hear your take on this because you fought with people.
Bro, you want me to drink bleach at this time of the hour? It's like, it's the Forever Physical thing. There's a serious discussion to be had about game preservation and what that means for the industry. But what you're seeing, and I'm going to be very clear here, that Forever Physical hashtag has been hijacked by a bunch of console warriors who want to propagate this point. If you see the people doing it, it's hashtag game ass or game cancel game ass. Or
it's anti-Game Pass?
It is anti-Game Pass. And then they say, oh no, I'm throwing PlayStation Plus under the bus as well, because that's low-hanging fruit. So they will throw that there in there. It's being weaponized a bit too much. There may be a certain corner that has concerns, but I'm seeing so much of the discourse dominated by a bunch of crocodile tears and full outrage. I don't buy my games physically. They're like, oh, but in the future, you can't share it with your friends. Well, I bloody don't share with them for 10 years. I think I'll be okay. Well, I game share with you. And I bought Hypercharge on Steam. Like, it's like I'm sharing, the sharing is different. Like, I'm not going to have a whole dungeon full of physical games. Like, come on, man. Yeah, it's true. It's like, come on, man. Try to explain this to your girlfriend. Like, this little room here is already excessive. Now you're going to have a little room with loads of CD cases with games. I just don't get it. Like, the world is going crazy. Is someone today I saw on Twitter was like, "Oh, what happens when you don't, like the internet goes down because of what's happening with the world?" I'm like, mate, if the world is messed up, that my internet connection is going haywire because of war, I have better things to worry about, like survival, than what video games I'm going to play. I don't know. I find so much. There's a legit argument of game preservation, but you throw this for hashtag buy digital only. I saw MBG today. Buy physical. No, don't tell me what to buy. I'll buy physical or digital.
Yeah.
Off. Not you, Joe. But yeah, it's just like such nonsense, man. I see so much of that pandering. Do this, don't do that. I hate it. Except when Hypercharge tell me to retweet. Yeah, I honestly tell me to retweet your tweet, which I've done. But you know what I mean? Like the preachiness of it. It's just like, I don't get it. Yeah, it's like today I was arguing with someone saying on game prices of $70. They were saying, don't stop complaining about, like, stop talking about $70 games. Like, you have a choice. Don't buy the game. Don't buy the game. It's such a migraine-inducingly stupid, basic post. Anytime I was going against Halo, oh, don't play the game then. Oh, what the hell kind of content creator am I? I'm not going to sit here talking about the game. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. So yeah, I don't know. I can be very emotive here, but I'm here with nice, sexy Joe, so I'm just going to be. I control myself a little bit, but yeah, I think this is just nonsense. What do you think, Joe, about this game preservation, forever physical hashtag? Your game is succeeded because of bloody Steam. Don't you dare go against anything I've said.
I agree with everything you say.
Yeah.
So is this? I've not really seen the hashtag. So is this like people are wanting only physical games? Is this what?
And they're compelling people to buy physical only.
Oh,
because it's going to hurt the industry.
I don't understand that.
It's going to hurt the industry because the game development, the game preservation is going to be harmed.
Seems like half the games don't even get a physical release anymore.
This is what I meant though about. So I agree with you there, guys, because that would annoy me. Like if somebody tell me to buy physical, it's like, well, I don't want to do that. So it's like, but because it's becoming more rare, for me, it seems more special if a higher price game, I could get something. Maybe not necessarily like, you see what I mean? Just something where you can hold in a way. But
something tangible. Well, I had Mike Rose on our team. I don't know if you know him from Nora Robots, the guy who owns that publisher. And he was vehemently against this notion of $70 games. Like, as a publisher, he was like, there's no justification for that price tag. He doesn't see it. Games
Matt Piscatella of the MPD group, he's a representative for the MPD numbers, and he did a post like half an hour before showing up about you see this 90s KB's toy store ad. I see this a lot. And this was an old defunct company that sold toys and video games in the early 90s and late 80s. And it was this Super Nintendo ad, and it showed the Mario game was $59.99, and he put the little conversion of $1996 or whatever to $2022, and the game should be like $110 in the US according to that if you look at inflation. And I don't know why people do this. Like, it's hard to say because everyone's game has a different value proposition, I guess. Some games they spend 6 years making them, and they spend millions and millions of dollars, and others they can spend hundreds of thousands of dollars and sell the game for $20, and it outsells the bigger games. So I don't know where the justification comes for the biggest. This is what it is. The biggest publishers right now in the industry being EA, Ubisoft, Rockstar, and PlayStation. They're like the top selling publishers, platforms, and they have set the price mark, and they say, this is what you'll pay from now on. And I really believe that people will not just say, I'm out. Like we know Fonz Really Gaming, who's been RDX that you were on with him last week, Joe. He's one of the only guys I know, only people I know that will say, I'm not buying a $70 game, and he'll sit and wait to play the next
I'm the same.
PlayStation game.
I'm honestly the same. I could go through my Steam account history, and I maybe there's a one-off, and I probably refunded it, but I will never spend. Not because I'm tight, like if I became a millionaire, I still probably wouldn't do it. And it's not because I'm tight; it's because it's more principle. It almost you feel personally insulted in a way. I can't really explain it. Like it feels like an attack on yourself, for me anyway. But if somebody, the issue is, like I said, you get people who just say, save up, get a higher paying job. It's fine. Just don't buy it then. But it doesn't really. Is it an issue? Is it an issue companies or publishers are doing this? It's hard to say, isn't it? Like, it just seems so bloody expensive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is.
Especially like when there's younger audiences. And, like I said, what I meant before is people are struggling. It's a lot of mums and dads are buying these games for their kids on these platforms. And how are these kids going to afford it? It gets put onto mum and dad as well, who are already pressured immensely.
I mean, it's only... To be fair, it's only $10, but when you're buying if you're on the PlayStation platform and you're buying all their big games, it's going to add up by the end of the year. You've
more
halfway paid for the next
Europe.
game.
In Europe, it goes like in Poland,
Australia.
It's over 100 euros. Crazy.
Yeah. Special Nick in the chat says, to be fair, game development costs have exploded, but the cost of games has stayed the same for 25 years. And that's true. Yeah. Games used to take 2 years to make.
They're also making record profits. And the games are then segmented in loads of further monetization as well. Like it's
microtransactions. Yeah. There is a lot, and wages are tough.
Everything's going up, and wages are staying the same.
Yeah. So true. And someone in chat, Punishing Polygon, says that they take into account inflation. The thing is, not everyone is following suit. PlayStation led the charge because it could squeeze out that money. And they're
making more money than ever.
Yeah,
they're making more money than ever. I mean, I think right now they're probably making more money per game than they were last generation. I think everything is. I mean, they're already making more money just on their PS5 than they would normally ever make. They wouldn't make a penny off of the console. So I don't know. I just want people to watch out for themselves as a consumer. Stop watching out for the corporation. I got in an argument with somebody on Twitter today that was fighting tooth and nail for their favorite corporation. I said, you got to remember, bro, you're a customer.
Yeah. And people don't remember that. And people need to be reminded about that. But to go on a hill and to say, don't talk about it, stop talking about it because it annoys you. Well, no. Just because you know Vaseline the whole thing doesn't mean I'm going to sit here, be a glutton for punishment and just accept corporate just like manhandling and just accept and ratify it. I know that sounds very fantastic. I'm obviously very exaggerative, but it's just someone has to take a stand, or if not, at least voice your discontent about it, and hopefully these companies will listen. So that's it's not the most exciting topic, but it came up again. I think it's because Paris Lily, who doesn't actually historically like to pay for anything, brought it up, and it generated a discussion. It was good.
Yes.
Sorry, Paris, I come at you all the time, but I'm sorry, I won't stop.
I want to get into the next thing where one game is $60 and is probably better than one that is $70. Let me just set that landmine down, that claymore right at your feet. This super chat goes to Joe. This one's for him. Justin Maroney, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, Joe, do you think of adding any special characters, Master Chief and whatnot? I want to cushion this question, and maybe let me redirect it so it doesn't get you guys into any weird questions. But have you guys thought about making some characters that kind of pay homage to other characters without running into
a Gaz character?
I mean, we already technically do. Like, people say, "Is that Goku?" And I say no. I say no. It's Noku. But again, it's a marketing.
Keep the lawyers away.
Why do you think I use that clip? Because people comment, "Is that Goku?" and it
Bro,
works.
It worked on me, bro. It worked on me like mad. I'm like, what? You can play Goku.
But it's not a negative thing because it's like you can be Goku as an action figure. Oh, cool. You know, but this is what we've done with a lot of action figures. But talking about the super chat thing, I would. So we don't. We've had a lot of people get in touch with us about things, and one of the not scary things is what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe the sorry,
scope creep. Like again, the same thing again.
Yeah, in a way, like if we add all these, it's kind of like Fortnite does. It adds all these other universe of characters. You don't lose. You kind of, in a way, lose the identity
of what you're saying. I know exactly what you're trying to
see
get
where I'm getting at. And it's like with
yeah.
Hypercharge and the story, we've got all our own sort of knockoff, if you will, parody versions of action figures. And if we got big enough and we started incorporating things like Fortnite does, would we lose the identity of Hypercharge? Now, maybe we wouldn't. I don't know. But what I would love to do is have like, if we were going to do something like that, we'd have to be smart about it. But I'd have it like, I wouldn't have them so like integrally part of the customization. I'd have it more of a separate part where, for example, the main protagonist is Sergeant Max Ammo, the guy who yells stuff at you. He'll be a lot more apparent in the story. I'd have it like these action figures, real ones you can buy, as if like they're almost like special agents, mercenaries, good, you know, who you hire to help defeat major evil in a way. So it separates it a little bit rather than just buying it as a microtransaction. But we're not very fond of microtransactions in general as well as a team. I would love to get a Master Chief in as like if we went for pre-orders. I don't know how it would work from a technical point of view, but or early Game Pass subscribers. I'd love if Xbox would let us make a Master Chief action figure. I mean, something like that I'd love to do. Because
there's all kinds of crazy red tape, I'm sure.
Everyone would buy it, though.
Agreements.
Gears of War, like Phoenix, you could have in there as an action figure.
Oh, yeah.
And we could implement it really well. So,
yeah, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, that would be really cool. But the identity of it, I can't even remember what the name of the toy is, but the main character I started with in the demo reminded me of this toy set I used to play with. That the action figures were like, I don't know, 8 or 9 inches tall, and they had holes in their arms and legs where you could attach weapons. And I couldn't even tell you what the name of this. This is like back in '85, but I just get that call back to the old days. I'm super old. Awesome. This next thing, and hopefully Gaz has a remembrance of yesterday or early this morning. We're talking about $60 games versus $70 games. One that just came out this spring was $70, and the other one is coming out next spring, and it's $60. And some of the games media has high expectations for this racing game. Gran Turismo is a $70 game, had a very bumpy release, and has not really impressed the racing world as much. But Games Radar put out an article the other day saying that Forza Motorsport next year has to amp up their personality. And what were this headline was really weaponized. Do you remember what it was? But I could look it up.
Yeah, I've got it here. So basically, it's clickbait. It's clickbait. Which I don't like assume the negativity from that. It's from Justin Towell of Games Radar, who recent reviews I've been following, and me and him had a back and forth. He's saying,
and he writes a lot of racing game reviews for Games Radar and other outlets.
He does. He does. And his headline is, Forza Motorsport will need to add more personality to its racing if Turn 10 wants to overtake Gran Turismo. That's a clickbait headline through and through. And he doesn't substantiate the clickbait in his substance of the article, because he pits the two. He talks about overtaking Gran Turismo as if that's not the case already. Like,
and that's not the objective of his article.
But the thing is, one, the title suggests that Turn 10 needs to overtake Polyphony, but that's the clickbait. That's the angle. He's trying to get you there. That's the click. I used to do these articles. I used to stir the pot. I know how it works. Two, that he doesn't mention And the angle is all about. So the headline talks about personality. Yeah, the substance of the article is AI only, and there's a decent point to be made, except he pits Gran Turismo 7. He didn't mention GT7's AI whatsoever in this article. You were saying in order for it to overtake Forza, it needs to Gran Turismo needs to do all this stuff with AI. The Drivitar wasn't used that well when it was a bit lifeless, and it seemed like okay. But then I said, okay, let me read his review of Gran Turismo 7 because surely he must have a lot to say about that. And no mention of AI, except for one point, which is negative on Gran Turismo 7's AI. And it's just like, it's like there's like Ridge Racer, they just follow Rubber Band around. I'm like, so why are you're looking? I feel a bit bad because Justin's not here to substantiate his points. That's the thing I need to make clear. But there was a back and forth, and he was very silent on the point when I raised it. I was like, oh, and he put on his Metacritic score of thing, and I said, look, I know you, Justin. I kept an eye on you since Forza Motorsports 6, where you gave it uncharacteristically low scores and higher scores than average. It's just clickbait, but it did generate some discussion. I just want people to be aware of clickbait. Justin, you need to substantiate your clickbait. You may think you have. I disagree.
You mean justify within the content of the article, justify why the headline says what it says. Because it's one thing, like you can come up with an outlandish headline. I've done it a million times. But the body of the work, whether it be a video or an article, have to justify the reason for the wording and the reason why you brought them to the article or the video. Before I give this to Joe, my biggest issue with this, Gaz, and audience, is that for a decade, Forza Motorsport has been outclassing Gran Turismo in almost every way. And some of it is a subjective. Gaz and I had a little argument amongst ourselves where I say objectively it's better, but looking at Metacritic and OpenCritic, a conglomerate, a collective of reviews, which are subjective, give you a semi-objective number that says that Forza Motorsport has been doing much better and eating the lunch of Gran Turismo. So to say in the end of his headline, the second half, that it needs to, what were the words? To outdo or outclass?
To overtake Gran Turismo.
Overtake, which all my speech aside, my problem is overtake Gran Turismo. It's been overtaking Gran Turismo for a decade. So I don't know if you're into racing games or if you've played a lot of sim racers or if you have a favorite. Where do you sit on that? Sometimes it's a genre people don't even mess with.
Yeah. So I'm a fan of the old school Gran Turismo. I think there was a 1998 one, really good one.
Yeah, Gran
Turismo 1 and
Turismo.
2. Yeah, I think it was.
Two.
It must have been number 2. I absolutely loved. Played that loads with my family. So I'm a big fan of Gran Turismo. I've kept up a little bit with the new Gran Turismo, and I was a little bit disappointed when I saw the screenshots. Some of them. That's the only thing I remember. Like it just didn't seem next gen. I mean, I don't really like that term, but you see what I mean. And it was
absolutely.
But what's the other one called? Is it Forza?
Forza Motorsport. Yeah.
So I played that, and I'm not into racing games, but that's amazing. I thought, like,
the Horizon series or the Motorsport.
The Horizon one is the new one.
Yeah, the arcade. Number 5. Yeah, Forza Horizon 5. That's the arcade racer. But I was interested in this topic being brought up because what that means for you and Hypercharge. Because in terms of reviews, when the Xbox version comes out, presumably there'll be reviews coming out for that game. Brace yourself, bro, because
are we going to do this now?
Different, bro. I'm telling Joe as a mate, like, okay, we're friends now, but like. You have to brace yourself, man. Like when we had Thomas Sala on from the Falconeer dev, he said this, like this, and that's another indie dev, like we have had a couple of times on, and he said, look, it's like the good comments and good reviews, it's like laminate. They all just slide off. They'll be nice to hear, but they'll all slide off. It's the negative ones that will stick. And I know you're a nice guy and all, but you need to brace yourself.
Yeah.
Because reviews can be all sorts, and they will nitpick like all sorts, and
But
there'll
I
be
know
comparisons
that from Steam.
Yes,
Honestly,
yeah, okay.
So this comes with like, yeah, people. I mean, I've read a negative review a while ago, and it's like what you're saying in a way. Like it relates to what you said earlier with substance and backing things up. It's like we as could you imagine going to a business and sitting in there, say a bakery, and you eat the food, you look around, and you start saying, you know what?
Yes.
You're going to change this wallpaper. It's not right. The material isn't the right texture. And you know what? This floor, why is it laminate flooring?
You know, it'd be really great.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be better.
Yeah. And it's like you put your heart and soul into it. And it's like but then there's no substance to back it up. It's like, well, it is laminate floor.
Hold on, Joe. Hold on, Joe. I actually got in this same discussion a couple weeks ago where someone said, so I have to be a chef, Colt. I have to be like a certified chef to know if food is good or bad. I'm like, no, but who cares about your opinion? Who cares about, Jim Sloan, who says, I didn't like this lasagna. How many people are going to care what he says? Like some of these people who have create something. I don't know. It's such a slippery slope.
I want to counter that.
Go ahead. It's easy to counter it.
Yeah, I just want to say, some people are like, you're not a dev, because I go after like Halo. They're like, you're not a dev. You don't know what it's like. Why do I have to be a dev to critique their work? I always say it to Bonnie Ross in her face. I'm like, this is a product of lazy development because I believe I can substantiate the points. Then you can hold me to account on my. That's what I'm doing with Justin's review. And I did it on, like I said it to him on Twitter. He was pretty silent. He was quick to respond on the Metacritic scores, but he was silent on this. I'm like, why did you not mention? You mentioned GT7. You brought it up. Where's the substance behind it? That's the kind of discourse I like doing it. So you can have the opinions. If you can back it up with substance, then bring it. The same with my videos. Some of my videos I had lots of critiques over. Some most of it, to be honest, I was like, these guys don't know what they're talking about. It wasn't like, you don't have to say it on Premiere Pro, but there are a couple who were right, and I thought about it, and like they substantiate it, and that's how do you sift through that? That's
JV in the chat says, didn't you guys build channels off of your opinion? I don't know about Gaz like from the beginning, but most 90% of my channel is built off of me reporting on information or what I hear or what I know or
most of
what
mine
I think is going on.
It's opinion.
Yeah, I
but
mean,
people like, why do I have whatever meager following that I have, 11,000 subs, whatever? Why do people still tune in? Because you either entertaining or you have an opinion. Maybe some people can gel with, or there's a multitude of different things. But
my argument came from.
Come to me with anything I say. I will challenge you. Fine. I'm not like someone to shy away from that challenge. If you want to call me out on something.
Yeah. I got to hear this from Joe, but the argument where someone said, "Oh, Colt, do I have to be a chef to say if food is good or bad?" It all stemmed from an argument where someone said, "I don't like the art style," or no, that would have been fine. Those words would have been fine. He said the art style of Starfield is bad, and he said Animal Crossing is better. And I wasn't even going to get into the Animal Crossing part of his argument because I think Animal Crossing has got a great art style, but to say an art style is bad, I thought was super weird from someone who doesn't create, isn't an artist, isn't a designer, it doesn't create something. It's just an armchair person hanging back and saying that art style is bad because an art style is a subjective opinion.
Yeah, there's an old saying over here. You probably know it, guys. Like beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So I don't think you can. Yeah. How can you say a vision is bad when you said it's completely personal and subjective? In my opinion, you can have the opinion that it's not your cup of tea, but I think it's more when we go back to reviews, it's more how people or customers articulate it. That's the very frustrating part. Like, you can say these things. Does it mean you're right? No, of course not. And then you could say an opinion isn't about being right, but this is where the confusion, where this particular type of audience sort of it conflicts. They do think they're right with things that are subjective. I mean, we had, for example, a user come on the Discord yesterday. I mean, yeah, he got banned. It was a bit of a troll, and he basically what it was on Steam. I think this will be a good example. On Steam, you can report reviews to the Steam team, and they see if it has broken their rules and guidelines. And if they find it has, they remove the review. Now, this particular user came on and started telling me that I had removed his review, and I was saying that's impossible because Steam do that. And then he said you removed it because of what I said about the game. And what he had said was so the reason his review got banned, he said there was microtransactions in the game. This is such a good example of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And he started going on and on and on saying it's an opinion that there's microtransactions. It's like, no, the reason.
How's that opinion?
Yeah, it's like it is. So on the Steam guidelines, I think it says something about misinformation or basically lying. He basically lied on a review to potential customers that we had microtransactions. We don't. He was saying DLC is the same as microtransactions, and I was like, they are not the same thing. But he said it's his opinion, and I was like, it's literally what he was saying. So I banned him. Like, I just had enough.
I mean, you'll get people like that. You'll get people
who one of them.
Will argue like black is white and white is black. It's just like, oh, whatever, man.
But on the other side, you were talking about how you've read the reviews on Steam, and it sounds like some people have said some things, and you're like, oh, that's a good idea, and you've taken it to the team.
Yeah.
That's all about like how they frame things, right?
Constructive criticism is welcomed always. But if
it's not even just criticism. I'm not even just talking about criticism. Obviously, you've gotten suggestions, right? Like, hey, what if you did this? And you're like, this, the team thinks, oh, this lines up with something that we could do or that we've wanted to do. And now we know there's some voices that like that. Right. So just we live in the day and age. And somebody said in the chat, like, Colt, how many arguments do you get on Twitter a week? And I'm like, 400 or 500. A lot. We're so argumentative behind, some of us or half of us are behind an anonymous avatar. Some of us aren't. Like, people now, they know the Hypercharge tweets and the Twitter posts that Joe's behind that, or he's the main face and person behind that. People know who Gaz and I are because we're on camera showing our lovely faces. Hey, and if you're here and you're enjoying the show, hit the like button to show the support. See if we can get that up to 500 likes by the end of the show. But we got over 400 people here checking out us talking to Joe, who is he's trending on Steam and the internet. It's
number
fantastic.
2, man. What the hell? That's crazy. Like, big boys won't be there.
I don't even know what the numbers like. I could tell you any given week when things are going well for like Gaz and I could tell you with our YouTube channels, we could tell you about how many people are like really liking our stuff. I don't think Joe has any idea what number of eyes are on his team right now because
that number so astronomical is ridiculous. You have to you have to get lit. You have to invite me around and we have fun.
One thing, it has been that viral. We've had agents of celebrities reach out.
No way.
Yeah. We've also had somebody like a production company who has worked with people like Bradley Cooper, Michael Bay, who we've just had a meeting with, who are want to talk to us about a TV show for Hypercharge.
Oh, that would be potential
to see where we're standing with that. Yeah, so that's amazing as well. So it's really like gone far and wide. So
your success story is going to echo across the indie scene.
I hope so. Just so it inspires more.
It's already doing it.
And at the very least, you guys have the trajectory. You have the rocket fuel that will push this game to PlayStation, Xbox. It's on Steam and Switch. The game will be a reality across the major platforms. There's going to be millions of people playing it eventually. So this is Holy crap. Jedi and Hype Peter, thank you so much for the Australian 10. I was talking to him last night for like 2 hours. He says, have a beer on me, mate, while chilling in your new pool. I think he's talking to me. I threw in a pool in my backyard and it about killed me. But he says, just do me a favor and think of us poor Aussies who are in winter. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I talked to them in the evening, and I think I don't know, it's in the afternoon for them, like 2 days in the future. I can't do the math because over in Australia they use metric time and I use imperial, so it's all different. You move the decimal point. I don't know, it's all magic. They're great over there in Australia, but yeah, you've made it, bro. The next thing
man, you made it, man.
This is propelled us, I think. It's like I think it's what you're kind of saying as well. I'm not fully hit home yet. Is like when it's so many people have seen the game. They're seeing that it's consistent. It's up there with the top seller. They've seen the reviews. We're in a different. I think you go in different leagues.
Yeah.
Like now, we will be able to get more support from Steam to do hopefully future sales, because they've seen the reaction. I mean, I messaged somebody from Valve on Twitter telling him about that we were a top seller on the Steam Deck verified page, and he replied and said, I saw that, congrats. So people are seeing it. I know we keep saying that, but I have to pinch myself sometimes. Honestly, I woke up this morning, I thought, is this a dream still?
Yeah. Oh man, that's a good feeling to wake up to. And then you realize it is a dream. Like, damn it. No, that's I'd love to be in your position, but you inhibit the space through all that adversity. Your story is amazing. I'd love to. If you have time, I know you're busy. Just want to chat. Just talk about your story, the indie story, the real like hard-hitting story. That'd be great. People need to know.
Yeah, there's a lot of facets that are probably not even on your radar right now for where Hypercharge will show up or where it'll be showcased. And one of the things that Xbox is talking about having a presence at Gamescom in Germany, and someone reached out to me and was like, hey Colt, you going to Gamescom? And I'm like, it's in Germany. And
yeah, you American piece of why do I have to go to LA? Gaz, you're coming to LA this year, like it's like you just hop on the train, but you Americans have never left the States.
You know what, Gaz? You don't have kids, all right? You fly to me. All right? No, yeah, I was like, yeah, you're gonna go to Germany for Gamescom. I don't know. Yeah, apparently Xbox wants to have a presence at Gamescom, but they've reminded people that they want to stay true to the 12-month message of what's coming in the next 12 months. Yeah, you have no games. But have you thought, I mean, it's super early, but have you thought about reaching out to the channels of maybe having your game showcased on like a Jeff Keighley showcase, or maybe having a bit of like a trailer on edited Xbox down or show at Gamescom? Or like, is that pinch me moment even available yet?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's called the Future Game Show, is it? You've heard of that? I don't know who does that. It's a big one. They've reached out. I mean, Gamescom even retweeted the clip as well. So,
jeez,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Have you looked at your mentions on Twitter using like the analytics tool for some of these big tweets, the impression numbers?
I don't know if I've even done that yet, to be honest with you. I've had that.
What kind of marketing guy are you?
I know.
He's an octopus with 19 arms. That's what he is.
Yeah.
He's like, I mean, that probably hasn't even entered into your ideas of something you should check up on. But yeah, how many eyes have seen some of those big tweets will kind of smack you in the face of how things
celebrities are already. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Mad.
That might be something to look into. Xbox is going to do a Gamescom presentation, but
we are going to Gamescom, I think.
What's that?
I think so I don't know if I'll be there. I want to go there, but I know Ulrich, because he lives in Germany, literally not far away from Gamescom. We're going to go there, and he's having a meeting with the Steam team and probably a few more people. Just a bit of networking. It's nothing mega special, but I think we probably will. Maybe we'll reach out to Gamescom and see, is there something we can do again with a new trailer or something like that.
Yeah, maybe with Xbox. Yeah,
it only takes a couple hours to get to Germany from where you guys are.
Yeah, not maybe a bit less, depends.
Yeah,
I
it's just like
drove
an
there
hour and a
once in
half.
5 hours. That's quite nice. It's a pretty chill drive as well. But yeah,
What do you
so
do?
not
Overinflate the
too-
tires to get across the water, or what happens?
Oh, you Americans. Take the ferry.
Take the ferry. That is amazing. Yeah, Gamescom.
Yeah, you guys are good.
One of the things I'll probably build a video about this, but Harvey Smith, who runs Arcane Studios, talked about Redfall and gave a whole bunch of details. Have you guys checked into what Redfall has to offer? They've talked a lot about what you can do in the game, what you can't do. Are you guys familiar with this, or would you like me to tell you a little bit about it?
Please tell us, Colteastwood.
So apparently this game is really truly the single player experience that you'd expect from an Arcane game, where you choose one of the 4 characters to play as, and you're locked in with that playthrough as that character, and you can have multiple iterations. Like if you choose Layla, the female with the witchcraft type powers, you can have multiple characters of her, like one for your the umbrella or the mystical elevator. But yeah, apparently you can have multiple versions of that character, one for your solo play, one for your multiplayer play with friends. You can join together in the game. It's really made to play by itself, but once you play as co-op online, it becomes very chaotic and they throw a lot of enemies at you, and you can have the same character as your co-op buddy. They've done a lot of digging into what players like and what they don't like, and they've realized that they want to be able to play as 2 of the same characters if they not have that restriction. So there's quite a bit to the game, and it does really. My big concern, guys, was that Redfall was going to be like Back 4 Blood with vampires, and it really is more like Borderlands, which I'm a huge fan, where you pick your character and you customize them up throughout the game and customize their gear and their perks and the build the way you want to build your character for that run. Very, very cool. So
yeah, it does look good.
There's a lot to talk about.
The only thing that annoys me about that game though is that only the host's progression carries forward, and I think that's a glaring omission.
Everyone's really upset about that. And I don't know if you have an opinion on like the progression in co-op, Joe, but it sounds like they did a lot of digging into what the game would be. And they were really adamant that they wanted you to play the game on your own and not be bouncing through missions in co-op back and forth and fast forwarding through missions. They're really sticking to that. I'm not sure why. I don't know. Joe, have you paid attention to this Redfall game and like how this is supposed to go? Because this sounds like something they're really dead set on.
I've seen clips of Redfall. I'm not too familiar with it, but from what I've seen, it looks really good. But I think probably what they're trying to do is trying to almost create a true single player experience. If I understand what you're sort of saying, like they don't want people to be. They want people to be more emotionally connected and not disconnected through certain bits in the single player experience. And I think it's a smart thing because I know, from Hypercharge being offline play is a huge thing. It's why, we believed in it. And it's in like single player.
Do you have analytics and stats for that, by the way? Like how many people play your single player game?
Yes, we do. We've got we set it all up so we know a lot of things. I think we can see how many played split screen, there's lots of things, how many enemies we destroy.
Where your players live, where the addresses of the people, the data.
So what's the
I get it.
What's the go-to mode for the majority of your players on Steam and Switch? What are they doing the most of? Or can you say?
I can't remember. We haven't checked since. I don't think even the data's in yet. But I think
it comes in on a little envelope
offline. I think we do have more of an offline community. It is very couch co-op friendly, but it's hard to say now. It might have changed because PvP has gotten so popular online now, and it's not even the main game mode.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So I don't know. For me with Redfall, Prey like really won me over. I played it in its entirety about a year and a half ago. I started it. I'm like, nah, I don't like this. And then my friend dealer's like, just start over and play it again. I'm like, I don't like starting over, because I was like, I don't know, 4 hours in, and I started over and I got up to the point where I had played before when it launched, and it became my favorite game that season. So Redfall does some special stuff, like they're Arcane's games. I don't know, but Gaz, you and I haven't talked about Redfall a lot, but I was really worried about it being this live service, online, drop in, drop out, co-op, thing, like, because Back for Blood, I know people liked it, but I'm just like, nope, it doesn't have enough.
No, I mean,
what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean, and a lot of people were pleasantly surprised when they did show Redfall, because it isn't a Back for Blood clone. It has a lot of substance and depth and style to differentiate itself from that game. So you've got those unique player abilities. That's pretty cool. The design of the umbrella chick, everyone wants to pick the umbrella chick. In fact,
yes,
Arcane Austin actually pushed the tweet out saying you can play the 4 characters you want, hearing the fan feedback, and just put 4 characters of her there, which is fine. Me and Asa were fighting over the fact that I was going to be that chick, and like, I don't want to be the guy with the whatever. But
I only remember 2 names, and Layla is the female.
Layla's the name is only
sorceress, right? Yeah. And then Remy is another character. So, but yeah, I don't really. That's the one everyone hones in on. But go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, generally Redfall looks good. Like it's. I didn't have massively high hopes for it, and I do now, and a lot of people have said that. It's not just me. They're like, oh, we're pleasantly surprised by how much depth there is. It's not a Back for Blood clone. You've got the customization, you've got the talent trees, things like that. I will say, though, and someone in chat says they have substantiated why it's built that way, but I don't. I find it weird that I want to progress with my friends, like, and go up. I don't want to. Someone says, oh, but then you can play the game 4 times. Again, I'm like, we'll have to do reruns. I'm like, no, man, I'm not a PlayStation gamer. I want to play a game once. A story mode.
I mean, all progression, all customization and pick up items and upgrades to your character carry through. But he said, like, they were really adamant about this, so they didn't want you to play, like, come in on chapter 4 and beat the game. But they also didn't want you to play a few chapters of your friend, go back and play the beginning. It's like, you've already finished these. Would you like to fast forward? But I've liked that. I've done that in Borderlands games. I've done that in, I don't know. But Far Cry does it.
Massive point.
Far Cry and co-op does it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm not.
It's a thing. Just pops up, says, you've already completed these? Would you like to skip to where you haven't completed? And I'm like, yes, please. I do that every time, but they're really adamant about not wanting you to skip. And I think it must be them. They don't want you to miss out on all of the story beats.
Yeah, or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, what can you say on that? It's like, we have to play the game. Like, if that's the vision, the time will tell. Because whatever justification they have for it, how do I end up feeling like, is there enough gameplay hooks there?
Yeah, if it can keep you invested enough, you probably won't even notice it. So it just depends on the presentation, really, and how consistent that will be.
Yeah, and I think it remains to be seen.
I think they know they know all too well. When I'm in party chat with my friends, it's very difficult to follow the story. We're cracking jokes. We're making fun of Gaz and Rand because they're not there. It's great, right? And it's very tough. And there are times when I play co-op. Dealer Gaming is one of the guys I play co-op with, and we try so hard. We respect each other's chance to take in the story, and we blow it every time. We make jokes, we talk over dialogue, and I've
learned the hard way not to play with you guys on party chat when I'm playing a story game, that's for sure. So I don't do that anymore. Why do you think I pair offline all the time? Because I want to play a story game. I completed Death's Door, which everyone said should be game of the year. Another indie game.
It's very
wrong.
Good.
It was okay, but it's not that great. But yeah, like, I don't know. What's next for Joe? We're here celebrity, and you want to talk about Redfall, then no one gives a shit about. Let's talk. Let's talk. I want to ask. Can I ask this question, Joe? What's the future for you? Like, you you kind of stumbled. I say stumbled. You helped. You built these communities for a multitude of games, and you kind of stumbled in as a very natural marketeer of games. And this is it. This is a big one. Like, this is a watershed moment in your life. Like, I'm not saying it doesn't get any better than that, but just do what you did today, or not today, or your team as well. I don't want to take away from the hard work of everyone, but you in particular. This is a highlight that most people will not attain in their lifetimes. You've done it. The thing I worry about you with this, okay, I'm going to speak very frankly. That's a bit weird for a gaming show, but it's good to talk about being real, because you've been very real. I don't want to be real with you. Like, it reminds me, and this is going to sound weird, like, Down Bilzerian, he's the fake guy who like had all the women and the money and all of that. You've attained this. Down Bilzerian, I don't know Down Bilzerian. Oh, you're such an innocent little boy. Like, you have attained this high, by the way, and I really want you to be a bit mindful of it. I know it sounds very preachy, but you've attained this high. Your serotonin levels have gone up like massive. Do you know why I'm asking you this? Because this is what I'm thinking. The reviews are going to come soon from like professional outlets when it comes to Xbox. You're riding this high. I think it'll review well anyway, but you're riding this high. You hit the number 2 on Steam and maybe number 1, hopefully. I don't know what number 1 is. Even if it's a game, I don't even know if it's a game that's number 1 on Steam right now.
The Steam Deck it's a bit weird, really. It was F1, I think. The racing game was number 1, but Steam Deck always shows as number 1, but technically it's not a game. So
yeah. Oh, okay, fine. But then you hit this peak, and then you're gonna go the reality of the situation sets in, and you've got all these offers in. But what are you gonna do next? Are you gonna go get away from the indie scene? What if a big company gives you a job? Would you be open? You want to? I feel like you need to relax a little bit, man. You need to cash in the check and just chill, man. You've done so much. Just relax.
I've been told that before, recently. I mean, at the moment, I've got to keep the hyper train going as much as possible. But I think what is next for Joe after this is keep self-developing, improve myself. And I don't just mean mentally, I mean more like improve my job, learn. I'm very like an open book for wanting to learn things. Like say, I'm not a programmer, I'm not a 3D artist, but I'm around people who talk a lot about it. I learn a lot, and I want to keep on learning that just about game development in general, and stick with the team. I want to stay with this team till the rest of my life. I think we're all the same thing there, really, because I can. There's the pressure side of it, but at the same time, if I would say to the team, "Look, I'm feeling pretty down here. I'm going to need 2 weeks off. We're going to need a month off," they'd be like, "We're here for you, mate. We'll sort it out. We'll plan it. You can do it. Your health's important."
That's good.
I can literally go wake up tomorrow, go get a coffee. I've got nobody over the top of me saying you got to be here at this time, because there's an established over time with an established trust, and it's worked. And it is, again, I've gone from leaving a family business in a way to joining another family business. And I have we all have a perspective to look back on, so I know what it's like to earn a decorator's wage. It's a good business, but it wasn't like a massive wage or anything like that. So when I get a payment from the game, it's not really a lot, but because I've got the perspective, it's massive. So what I'm getting at is, for me, it's like I'm already at the stage. What's next? I've already reached the stage. What's next for me? And it's here now. And I think like something I'm really, really trying to grasp is the only thing we own are moments in time. And I just want to focus on the present, especially after what's happened now. So to answer your question, what's next for Joe? It's the right now. I want to focus on right now, not think about the past, not think about the future to a certain extent, if you get what I mean. I just want to embrace things as they come, learn from it, do my best, see where I can improve, and hopefully us as a team can ride out this together and we go out together. And that's what I really hope.
Yeah, man.
Awesome.
That's good. That's great. Just enjoy the moment. Me and Asa, like my business partner, we run a game. You should market our bloody game aggregation site. We need the marketing help. And God damn, we need that. How much money we've poured into that. Very similar story to yours, actually, but in the sense that, but there's no up yet. Well, the YouTube channel is, but yeah, we've sunk. We've sacrificed our livelihoods in a lot of ways. But I tell Asa all the time, just enjoy the struggle, enjoy the journey. I know you want the results. It's been 2 years of graft, but just live that moment. And you wonder, you might look back.
Yeah.
Any of the hard times, you'll be like, yeah, man, this is what was made it. Because, yeah, man. It's just like, it's just cool, man. Your story is so real. Like, I've talked to lots of game devs and stuff. I just don't feel, I feel like, I'm like you, like, I'm more of a human creature. I just want to get into what you really feel. Just cut the layers of BS out, and with you is just there. You're an open book, so you're like me. So it's really like, yeah. Sorry. So in chat's like, why are these two guys just chatting each other up, and we're here listening to them? This is a real conversation, okay? Dustin Legary wouldn't do any of this. Shout out to Dustin. Sorry, we had him on a couple of weeks ago. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, Dustin will probably reach out eventually, but yeah. You guys asked like, what's next for you, but you've got, I don't know, 6 months or more to get the Xbox version up and ready to push forward. I can't imagine what that whole process is like. And there's like a whole
make it
layer.
Right. Make sure it's good, because we will come for you if it sucks, because Xbox needs good games.
Well, what I can say is when we launched a Nintendo Switch, and again, we've had over 8 major updates since then. By the time we launch an Xbox, because what we do is, you see, we release things on Steam because it makes sense for us in terms of production, like the schedule, and for testing, because we're a small team. So we release things slowly in Steam. We get to test it, then we get the feedback. So like when it launches on Xbox, things are good, and we are outsourcing a QA team now because we have the money for Xbox specifically. So we want it to be very bug free. But on Nintendo Switch, so some of the websites used to be Metacritic verified, but then they got removed. And I've got all the data for it. We are like 8.5 out of 10 overall on these websites. So we're 74 out of 100 on Metacritic, but there's loads that used to be on it and they got knocked off it, even though they're still active. So that was back then. So I just think because when we finally update the Switch to bring it up to date, I am reaching out to everybody again for them to review it, because I know Nintendo Life's policy. They said if a game has significantly changed majorly, they will review it, and Hypercharge has. So like if we got like just say an 8, 7 out of 10 then overall, surely it's got to be up at least to an 8.
Yeah.
So I think it's gonna. I know the people who don't like your game, that always is. We're gonna look. Let's be honest. We're gonna get probably a 4 out of 10 from one person, because it just doesn't resonate with them for whatever reason. That's fine, but I'm confident overall it'll do well. But in the end, I don't care about the. In the end, what's most important, I'll say, is that I hope Hypercharge will be the people's champion. It's the people's opinion, and according to Steam, we have thousands of reviews and we're 91% positive. So that's like 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
So that's what matters.
That's the one that counts.
Yeah.
That's the one that counts. No matter what the reviews say, and I'm coming as someone who runs an aggregation site, that's the one that counts. Definitely. Well done, man. Well done. Just gonna say well done.
Yeah, we really appreciate it, Joe. I skipped the tutorial. He was talking to me pre-show, and he's like, I said I did the mission in the garage I recorded. You're like, you didn't get the bedroom? He was like, oh, I skipped the tutorial because I wanted to just like get in and start recording content to show on the show.
I did the tutorial. Yeah, good.
Yeah. Oh, you did try it. So yeah, I'll load that sucker up again. I've got the Xbox controller connected to the PC so I can play it on Steam. Something that I haven't done on this PC build, but
I'm gonna do it on Steam Deck. Does it work well on Steam Deck?
Yeah, it's Steam Deck verified. It has native Linux support. It runs amazing. I mean, that's like what Corey from God of War, he played on the Steam Deck. So,
how cool is that? Oh my gosh!
Oh wow, it's amazing.
Yeah, I'm gonna download it. Actually, I downloaded it on
He
PC.
follows us on Twitter as well. I mean, did you guys know as well? Sarah Bond reached out and she's been retweeting some of the Hypercharge things, and she even messaged me to send me a lovely message as well.
She's so lovely.
She's
so lovely.
She liked and retweeted my montage I put up of the Hypercharge footage. I saw that I'm like, and I told my wife, Sarah Bond liked and retweeted this. That's cool because it was like the one post where I wasn't telling someone to go shove it. No, I'm just kidding. I don't do that. It was it was a good wholesome.
That's so
tweet,
bad.
right?
She reads all your other tweets then.
She's like, I'll retweet this one, but yeah, I might have to send a little DM to Phil and say, hey, have you played this Hypercharge thing? And I'm sure he'll get back and say, yeah, we've been.
So Phil, I've done some funny things with Phil tagged in, and sometimes I get a little bit paranoid. At one point, I feel like, should I message Sarah or Chris and be like, are they getting annoyed? Because what I do is, and I do it in a creative way and try to be fun about it. For example, Xbox did a tweet, and because I got my notifications.
Oh yes, I remember this.
And I can't remember which one it is. There's many. I can't remember.
It was from Grounded, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, see, Grounded. Yeah, they've reached out as well. I've
Grounded tweeted they have a T-Rex in the pond, and go ahead, Joe, and you sent a tweet.
Yeah, and then I sent a tweet. So basically, Grounded sent a tweet out saying, "You have a T-Rex, we have a T-Rex. That makes us best friends forever now." And I replied quickly with a video. But we have a rideable T-Rex. Don't worry, we can ride it together now. We're best friends forever. So it was just like a real good comeback. And then there's another one today. So Xbox did a tweet, and I jump on it quickly. They said something about it being hot in summer. So I recorded some footage of me melting an army man because they melt in the game. And I said something like, you don't know what hot is unless you're a plastic army man. And then I put the sign up link there, and we're looking for more small soldiers. But so that's what I do. I don't just spam links. I try and be creative. But I just hope
that's
don't get annoyed.
That's
or
really good
like
stuff.
That's the tricky part as a marketeer, organic marketing.
I just get paranoid thinking
that common ground thing. Yeah,
I won't.
They'd be happy because I'm building up the hype, aren't I? So
remember, all those people behind those Xbox accounts, they're people just like you, Joe, that are just trying to get people excited, share the excitement of games, and get people to come over and check out what they have on offer without being pushy, really. And that's really what it's about. Saying, hey, we have a T-Rex,
not
you
being
have a T-Rex.
pushy. Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's a great point. It's not being too pushy and too salesy. But I think a lot of people will be taking notes from you, Joe, about how you've marketed Hypercharge. Obviously, the game's quality says itself, but the marketing.
It goes hand in hand, doesn't it? I always say, marketing and game development itself, they're both very a part of each other. So marketing, in a sense, I think if you're good at it, is very much part of game development. In for example, like I said, the Noku character, things like if you can see ahead, and also it's like the vision. It's like I like to, they call me on the team, Joe. You have been the visionary, and we've been the architects. Without the visionary, there'd be no architects. Who wouldn't know what to build, and it's kind of like that. And if you see it from that perspective, you can really be good at marketing, sort of, especially games, because it's a form of art. I think marketing it is. You can't really predict it. It's very dynamic, and honestly, all my most viral tweets, and if I ever spoke about this, this is what I'd say. I tried to schedule tweets at once, but what I found was you end up rushing it. You end up just want to. It just becomes a list. My best ones have been literally within the minute, at 3 a.m. Something comes to me and I'll do it just creatively.
That's
on the
amazing.
go.
You have to constantly think of that.
That's how I do most of my memes. I'll be laying in bed and some idea will come to me and I'll pop out the stylus on my phone or run into the office and load up my computer to create a little video about something I want to a share,
Yeah.
and that's the best time when, and that's really what Xbox has been doing, a lot of organic marketing where they think of something clever and they try to make something fun to get people excited without being pushy and like, what'd you call it? Salesy, guys?
Salesy. Yeah, very
I love it.
salesy. and
Very
pushy.
salesy.
Oh,
Hardy
the-
Johnny, who is quite the salesman himself, he sells his handsomeness on the internet for free. He's amazing. Hargit's awesome. Thank you,
Yeah.
Hargit, for the super. He says, in early ecstasy, the big question is, will Gaz actually get some sleep? Nah, that would be like Gaz remembering Asa on the outro for Game On Daily podcast.
Nope.
Oh, for Go
That's so
Live.
true. I don't need sleep.
I can't tell you how many times I sat and watched your show on a Saturday, and you sign out and leave Asa in the
I
dark
did that
corner.
again.
Your
I did that
co-host.
again on Saturday. So bad.
Oh, jeez.
I'm terrible.
Joe, don't forget the people that mean the most to you when you become famous and get a fancy car. No, I'm kidding. Carlos Alvarado with the $2 super. Thank you, Carlos. Says, Joe, Steam Deck comes Wednesday. Gonna pick up your game.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah,
That's always
yeah.
awesome.
I'm also downloading it.
I'm not going to buy a Steam Deck. 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 Yeah.
Buy it. Just buy it, man. It's
Oh
so
my
cool.
gosh. But
It's a lot
yeah,
of money, though.
we're looking forward to hearing your next big milestone. Yeah, I'll ask that as we close out because Gaz kind of alluded to what's next. But what is your next milestone, or what's your next big goal that you guys are working on right now?
So I think the next thing will be slowly. We've got to be careful how we implement the campaign. See, I'm on one end of the spectrum where it's difficult to bring out a campaign in sections because it makes the hype for me more difficult. Because I would like to bring out the campaign when it's finished on Steam, then get a big traction for that. But we have to test it, and so we may have to bring it out in chunks publicly. And then create hype after, but I think it'll be the campaign and then new enemies, overhauling PvP. We want to do a game mode like Capture the Battery, some old school classic modes. I want to spin on it. We have like a lava mode for PvP where the map starts getting filled with lava. Which is
That's clever. That's a sick idea.
Yeah.
Hey, pause that. Joe, can you read that super that's from Hargeet there? You see it?
He's not watching the show.
No, I can put it up here. Just need a second.
Oh, damn.
Whenever I'm on shows, I have the actual YouTube feed on here so I can watch both.
Oh, Hypercharge Steam code. Oh, you just put that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Shout out to Hargeet for giving away a copy on Steam of their game.
Yeah,
awesome. That's cool.
Yeah,
hey,
that's
another
so
sale.
generous.
You got two sales today. Yeah, no, it's amazing. I'm so excited.
I'll drop some keys in the chat now. Right, this is going to be a first come first serve.
So, really?
Yeah.
Whoever
Chat,
claims it, let us know.
He's going to drop a key for Hypercharge.
Get ready.
Right, tell
Get ready to Control C, Control V. You better open up Steam.
Right, hold on. Let me get the link. You got to be
Look at
quick.
this. He's got like the wizard's wand over there, just like generating a code for you guys. That's amazing.
Right. So what I'll do is, chat, I'm going to put a bracket in between one of the letters so it gives you a chance to actually enter it. So this will be the first one.
Oh, dang.
Right, let's do this. So I'll tell you what I'll do is to get you some more views, hopefully. I'm going to tweet. I'm going to tweet the YouTube link now saying I'm giving away some Steam keys. Come subscribe.
Nice.
So let me do that now. So 2 seconds. I shall put the link here. I watch this.
Gaz, how much time have you had on the? Did you load up the demo or the full game today?
I bought the full game, loaded up the demo. Bro, do you know it? I got home at 10.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Put this shirt on, got out my suit, played the game. For about 10 minutes, I was late, as always. That was me. That was my day. I was like, I didn't get time to play Hypercharge. But I'm going to play it now. I'm downloading it now on my Steam Deck. It doesn't like to turn on easily for some reason. I have to double tap them.
Tweeted that out. Right, I'm going to send some keys, the first key now. So remember, guys, you've got to remove the bracket.
And guess the character or letter?
No, so basically all you do is just remove the bracket.
Oh, are you Joe H04?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay.
Woo!
I wonder if I can highlight that.
Just copied and pasted it, boys. Too late. Yeah, it's Leisure Suit Larry. This is not Hypercharge. It's the wrong code.
I'll
Let
just
us know who
just
plays.
pin them as they come up, so people who know.
Whoever
Joe,
came
it's your
down, let
forward.
us know.
Oh,
Let us
wait,
know.
let me redo them. It doesn't let you do it like in separate things. Hold on. That's one.
You want me to delete that one?
Yeah. You delete the big one. I
Okay.
did. I'll do them separately. I didn't realize.
What is that? That's a massive code. Oh, okay. You just like place
Dang.
it.
Okay, I'll pin the next one. You just have to keep an eye on them. Replace pin message.
Let's come first.
Is this the same one?
Wait, it's actually.
Oh, here it is. There it is. Jeez. You know what? I might not just pin them because you're dropping them pretty quick. Well, how many are you doing here? 5?
I'll do one more. We'll leave it at that then.
Okay.
I'll do a few
Sweet.
more as we. Before you end the show, I'll drop.
I see. You're putting a bracket in so they just can't do Control C, Control V.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
That's
Okay. Sometimes people put in and they put a mystery letter in there or mystery spot, and you have to, they put a little clue in there or something. But yeah, how much is the game on Switch? Do you? Dave's asking.
I think it's $20.
And then it's also 20 on Steam.
Yes.
15? Oh, 15 quid.
So
£15, yeah.
Yeah, it's 15.
So how do you choose pricing when you go to like a console like Xbox or PlayStation? Do you get to set it and say this is what we want to sell our game for?
So I think the price of Hypercharge by the time we go on Xbox, I mean we believe it's too cheap for what's in it now.
Mm-hmm.
And we think when the story campaign's in, everything's in, we think we could get it up a little bit more, maybe $24.99.
I thought it was. When I was looking at the store, I thought it was $30 for it on Steam for the full game.
It's
$19.99.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we might get it to $24.99. It just depends. I mean, Xbox, they gave us some advice and stuff, so it depends. But
That's cool.
There will be a significant. It will be significantly more improved, more content packed when we launch an Xbox. And I think we have been underselling the game personally now for a while. We've added so much updates. You get if you like the type of game, there's a lot of replay value to be had. So
yeah. And then there's all the unlockable customizations. I didn't have that segment of your trailer that's on your website where it shows all the customization you can do for your character. There's all these unlockable heads, unlockable weapon skin colors, and different characters. So it kind of motivates. That's one of those games that motivates you to unlock the stuff by playing the game instead of just going.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's one of the good when you mentioned about the customization. I don't know if you've seen it. I need to promote it more. Actually, I just need to find a good way and right moment to do it. It's called the name generator. And when some big streamers play it, they have a right laugh. And you basically have like different verbs and adjectives and stuff for words, and you unlock them like titles. So we had one user.
Oh, okay.
It was so funny. We had one user who told us that he took a screenshot and said his friend's title ended up being The Accidental Baby. He said it's true because that's actually what happened to him.
So you can get like a sub name like Splashy Toadstool or something like that.
Yeah, or like the Dirty Finger, or something like that. We've had one that's the Frigid Sister. It's quite funny.
That's pretty cool. Like you unlock those and you can set them on your character. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So in game it goes with that. I've just seen in the chat actually you were technically right. We have a complete edition where you get all the DLC and the supporter pack. I say we have a supporter pack and you have a DLC and the base game and the soundtrack, and it's all bundled for about $30, I think.
Okay.
So that's where you saw it from.
Yeah, I'm going to it right now. There's a Hypercharge Breaker and Midas $10 expansion. The complete edition on Steam is in the US is $37.57. So yeah, you've got 3 different packs that you can get like the full experience. Oh yeah, one is I remember hearing about this, the soundtrack. If you want to you can get the soundtrack if you want to pay for that. So you can listen to the very 80s, 90s style music that plays in the background. Yeah, there's kind of like a really cool Zelda-like theme, Gaz. When I was playing, it kind of reminded me of the original Zelda, like in a techno type electronical version of it. It's pretty cool because after I stopped playing, I had the Zelda theme kind of in my head. So this is a very cool game. Wolf of Darkness, thanks so much for the AD $17.99. He says, hello, Colton Gaz. What if Microsoft introduced a new handheld as powerful as the Series S? Oh, Wolf of Darkness. You didn't get to check out my last video.
Any games, but yeah.
Oh! Yeah, Wolf, please check out my video. Nobody watched it. It was great, but I did explain in great detail why
Jeremy Merchant.
It's not happening.
Sorry. Yeah, Jeremy Merchant asked a very good question. He goes, can you ask Joe if there's any licensing issues for any of the characters at all? Joe, well, it happens to be I'm a solicitor, so when you do eventually get sued, you can come chat to me about it.
That's good to know then. I'll be knocking on your door.
I'm on IP though. Yeah, it's. I think you're fine based on this. Like derivative work is just reference work.
Exactly.
Full-on copies.
We've never had any issues. A lot of people just think you're going to get sued, but we have looked into it, and you know, we do have like a lawyer sort of thing as well because we knew it was a bit risky coming into us. That's where a bit of money went into as well, just to go through exactly what we were doing. But it's even like the Buildo bricks we call them.
I was going to say the Legos.
Yeah. But you can do things with that. So I don't know. You might know more, Gaz, but I don't know that. I don't know if Lego trade. They can't trademark they can't trademark a universal design or some. I'm explaining it wrong. Obviously, ours kind of look like that, but it's not. But Lego can't do anything about it because it'd be basically monopolizing any other type of block. If you see what
building blocks.
Yeah, exactly. You can't have a broad like design that just preclude anyone from doing anything remotely similar. So you're absolutely right. You have the registered and unregistered design rights there as well, and then they go into minutiae of detail in terms of like a Lego block versus your rendition of that. But it's so broad. Basically, we associate the Lego shape, but
with the name,
in terms of IP, in terms of intellectual property, you'd have to be very close. The risk is called passing off. You're passing off the way that it works is if your works and your representation of works is passing off as Lego and it's harming them. So the risk could be potentially if they start doing a game like yours and the Lego thing was so fundamental to the game's identity that it was harming them, but it'd be very hard push because your game actually benefits from a multitude of different sources from different reference points. You've got toy soldiers, you've got Goku, you've got Lego, and it just does. You'd be fine. I'm not an IP lawyer. I'm comprop, but I think it would be absolutely fine. Yeah, because these are considerations we would have.
The hardest part's got to be when you start out. You're so small, and you start out with this project, and you build something, and you don't realize how many eyes are going to be on there. And so maybe in the beginning, you're like, "Oh, this looks like this," and nobody's going to give us crap because nobody's seeing our game. And then the game gets bigger and bigger, and then you have to go back. Your team has probably gone back and like adjusted things to get away from bumping into problems like that. I would assume. That's got to be. It's like, you tenfold the people.
At first, it was like going into a jungle and thinking, what can we touch? What can't we touch here?
And it's not like there's no like definitive answer with things like IP and design rights. There's always a bit of touch and go, and what's the risk of enforcement? And there's a lot of like it's not an exact science, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Creative works. Yeah.
What engine are you guys building in? You're in Unreal Engine 4?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And so that's probably you're probably finishing everything off in 4, not bothering to license into 5 and all that mayhem at this point.
I don't think we're going to transition to 5. I think it's we did recently do a massive engine upgrade to like I think it's the version before Unreal Engine 5. So technically, I think we could. It's possible, I think, but it would require a significant amount of work. That may not
and you're
be worth
you're
it.
like almost there. So
Yeah, exactly. So it's not worth it.
I don't know how much you even mess with anything regarding the engine, but we get a lot of people saying, move everything to 5. It'll make it so much easier. And I think that's like a pipe dream that people
Just press the red button. Just move it.
Do a file save as, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it sounds like, I mean, you guys are already there on the Switch and Steam, and then the version for Xbox is in the works, and then it will go to PlayStation not long after, just by assuming. And then, you guys can just enjoy the large crowd of people excited for Hypercharge, where you can play in a toy store out in the backyard with a T-Rex and a sandbox, and you can see the house in the background. You've got the garage, you've got the bedroom. That pretty much the most of the maps that you'll play in so far that you can talk about, or is that
any maps that we're planning? Sorry. So yes, we are. So I forgot to mention this the other guys as well with the podcast. We mentioned this 2 years ago, but with things happening, we put it to the back of the production, but it's still happening. Oh, so it's so good. We are working on a survival mode, so it takes away basically an endless mode. So it takes away having to defend the hypercar. You know, the objectives. It's more pure classic survival, and we've already done the level for it. It's a huge outside like pirate themed play park, and it's just absolutely it's got slides. It's so good. You climb up atop things, go run down the slide, go inside the little cannon things. It's just really good. And the survival mode will give players a bit of a break from the sort of it's going to be a campaign, so give players a break from the campaign, and we may be able to get vehicles in for that as well, which would be cool.
Vehicles would be a wicked shot. There's so much you can do there.
Dang.
Yeah,
I haven't even seen anything of the game yet. Like in the footage, there was a shotgun, there's like a laser beam, there's a sniper, the standard assault rifle is super fun. With those fiery BBs, as he talked about. We're really excited. Joe, thank you so much for being on the show. We went quite a long time with you and kept you up late, but of course, Gaz is always up late. He's going to become a character in Redfall as he turns to the
Hypercharge. Hi, Joe. Just put the source boss. I don't know if you've seen the source videos, but you can market that. Just do it.
Right, I'll try and get you guys on because we've got on one of the we've got like pictures of the devs on like certain like shampoo bottles and stuff. So I was trying to get your faces on certain things.
Bro, are you serious?
Do it. Yeah,
hilarious.
Just put me in the toilet. I don't care. Just put me there.
There's a poster in the bedroom called the Indies, and it's like it's got pictures of 4 of us on it, and it's like an Indiana Jones themed poster.
Oh, that's so cool. I'd love to get Gaz's face on a bottle of lotion.
That sounds wrong.
What do we call it? Knees and toes or something funny like that.
We could put it in a hot sauce bottle. Come on, man.
That would be awesome. We really appreciate you taking the time to come here and talk about your life's work. It's so amazing. I'm going to be playing the game later on today. Thank you so much for being on here. Gaz, what do you have in the works for Go Live, Game on Daily, the sauce and whatnot? And you can kind of sell yourself to Joe's listening ears for some entertainment value, huh?
I want Joe to watch a source video and see what he thinks about a source video, because it's pretty raw. So a lot of people liked the source format, although YouTube didn't push that video that well. Thanks, YouTube. More source coming. There's more videos coming. So please check out Game on Daily, one word. And yeah, that's it. Just check it out. Thank you so much for everyone in chat for tuning in. And this has been a really special show for me, because Joe, man, you just killed it. Can't wait to get to chat to you. And I'm really, I don't just say it, I don't pander to that. I just am taken aback by your journey, man. It's inspiration for me as well. And Game on Daily. So thank you so much.
It's very motivational for all of us who try and create stuff for people who are cool enough to check out what we do. And And Joe, Gaz's Saw stuff that he's referring to, he does skit-based short videos that kind of play off comedically about what's going on in the gaming community or in the industry, whether it be like a little controversy or and he's got the Sauce logo. It's so great.
I'll send you a video. Cool. I want to know what you think. If you could, I'll be humbled, but if you watch the video and see what you think.
Send me a link after this. I'll definitely watch it. But yeah, no, it's been absolutely awesome. Thank you for reaching out when you did as well, and all the retweets that you've done. That was a massive help.
You're welcome, man. I mean, it's the least that we can do as fans of games. And like Gaz and I always joke, like Xbox has no games this year. It's been pretty rough, but we're excited when I see stuff that just jumps off the screen like this. We've played games for so long, Joe, that when we see footage, we can feel the controls in our hands, right? And it really means a lot. Like when we watch the little gameplay montages or the little posts, like I want to play that. I already know what that feels like. And when I loaded up the game today, it felt just like I expected. So it's the least we can do if we're excited about a game is to help share it out, especially with such a small team. Kyle Coe with the $2 thing, he says, Colt, you going to go to In-N-Out Burger today? Any REC? I don't have an In-N-Out Burger here in Washington State, but I've been to one when we go out of state, and people like to argue about who sucks and who doesn't suck as a burger joint, but I barbecued my own last night. So as far as what I'm doing, content's been slow for me. I've been super busy on stuff that's not YouTube, but I think I'd like to kind of report on what's going on with Starfield and Redfall and some of the cool stuff to look forward to. But Joe, thank you so much for being here. We're going to let you get some sleep. I want you to remember one thing, that there's that 3%. And as I was told by somebody at Xbox, the 3% are the people that act like jerks, and that's all you should give them is 3% of your time. So keep doing what you're doing. You've got all of our support here in the chat. We cannot wait to hear about your next milestone. Keep rocking. Go back and tell your team that the few hundred of us here at the show watching and talking to the chat that we love what you guys are doing. Keep it up. And I don't know what else to say, but just stay positive.
You made it. You made it, man.
No, thanks, guys.
I'd love to be in the position you are. It's mad. Well done.
No, it means so much. And to everybody who's watching, thank you as well for the support. It's still surreal for me. And as a call to action, check out the sign.
There you go.
The sign up.play Hypercharge link. I think it's linked.
Yeah, it's in the description, guys. I'll interrupt Joe. It's in the description toward the bottom of the explanation. Yeah, it's right after the first couple sentences there. It says sign up for the Hypercharge newsletter. If you click that, you just put in your email address. And he has, like you said, they have 50,000 people who signed up that from the Xbox fan base and beyond. So please do that. Thank you so much. We're going to get out of here. Thanks for checking out the X&C podcast. This will be up on, I haven't done all that stuff, but it'll be up on Spotify, Google, Apple Podcasts. So you can listen to it on demand, audio only, and also on demand here on YouTube. Follow Joe on Twitter. His link is in the description. Also follow Gaz, his Twitter and YouTube channel. You can subscribe or in the description. Thank you so much. We're out of here. Enjoy the rest of your day and beginning of a great week.
I'm naked again.